I don't know, man. I don't know where the line is. Maybe we can figure it out tonight.
We don't need to.
We don't have to. We don't have to make it that complicated.
Who gives a fuck, man?
Nobody cares as long as it's delicious, right?
Yeah, right.
1, 2, 3,
4. Yes, it is Lopez Radio on a Monday night. I am Lopez. You can follow me at Lopez Radio wherever. This is episode 384 with my good buddy, longtime pal, BansheeRadio at Banshee_radio on Twitter while that's still around.
Yeah.
And I think you even got BansheeRadio on what is it, Bumbl?
No, it's a Hive.
Hive.
Not Bumbl. God, you're going to get me in so much fucking trouble. I am not on Bumbl. If you see anybody who claims to be Banshee on Bumbl, it is not me.
It's not the truth.
But you should definitely go out on a date with them. No, definitely swipe. Is it right? Is it swipe right? That's the right way to go?
I think so. I think we just swipe left on everything.
I don't know.
What's your dominant hand? That's the way you swipe, right?
I don't know.
Is that how it works, or is that masturbation? That's masturbation.
Oh, and that's the non-dominant hand, because the dominant hand's on the mouse. Come on,
That's
bud.
right. That's right.
You have to have control of the clicker at all times. Anyway.
On Hive, Banshee Radio.
Yeah.
No
Banshee
underscores.
Radio, no underscore. I'm on Counter Social. I've been looking for like someplace, another island to land. But I realized I didn't make it to Twitter from Facebook until all my friends were on Twitter, and I was like, that's like a lot cooler place to be than where my parents are.
Yeah.
Because like I'd be on Facebook and I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And then my dad would call me and was like, hey, could you just like not post the word fuck on Facebook as much? And I'm like,
could you turn the fucks down a little bit?
And I'm like, what the fuck? Come on, old man. So then I was like, I'm just gonna go to Twitter because nobody else. And then I just stopped using Facebook altogether. And so I've now decided that I'm not gonna leave Twitter until somebody cooler than me finds a cooler place to go. And so now I'm just trying my best to find out where they are, because I really want just the username Banshee.
Yeah. I mean, of course.
Right?
Of course. Just like I want the name Lopez. It's never happening.
Yeah.
Never happening.
You want it though.
Right.
So like you're trying to keep your ear to the stone, like maybe you'll get lucky.
I mean, maybe. But like here's the other thing. Like it's the fact that now you're so deep in, right? You're
not
so
that deep in.
Well, I'm so deep in, like everything's branded Lopez Radio. Like everything's branded.
You're pretty deep in it.
Yeah, I can't really do anything about it. I'm adjusting something real quick.
Right, but that's like that guy you had that's like death. And like at some point in time,
yeah.
Like the poor guy's going to die in real life and people are not going to
they're not going to believe it.
Or is this like the best, like the best bit ever, right?
Right.
We're going to have a death stream-a-thon, and it's going to be like his significant other that's like just torn up and dead, just crying because he's dead. I know this is morbid as fuck, but I think that's his brand as well, so he'll dig it.
Sure.
But like, he's kind of pigeonholed himself into a unique corner.
It's a pretty cool one though. Like,
but then I think a lot about these these VTubers and stuff like that, because I really like what they're doing, and it's really creative and it's really pushing. And it kind of reminds me of like how, remember we all had MySpace accounts?
Yeah.
And then we took the time to learn CSS so that we could have animated backdrops on our MySpace accounts. You know what I mean? And mine was cooler than yours because I took more time coding into my profile.
Look how much time, look at the font, how he changed the font, man.
Right. So, and we learned that code so we could do that and be that cool person.
Yeah. And
so now this VTubing is like, I think that's the next step. Because you see a lot of situations where we don't know how computers work.
I work in computers and I barely know how they work.
Right. I mean, that's like the Rogan sketch, like an asteroid hits and all the smart people die.
Mm.
And it's like, so then it's like, eventually it's like, hey, we need more of these cell phones. And it's like, I got no fucking clue how to make this thing.
Did you ever see, this reminds me of, you watch Kyrgyzstan on YouTube?
No. Yeah, a little bit.
Like the little animation, like really well done animation.
Yeah.
They did a whole like how likely is human extinction, and it actually broke that down, like how long it would likely take depending on the amount of decimation it would take to build back to certain points in technological history.
Right.
And that shit was interesting because they were like, forget computers and semiconductors and all this stuff. Let's talk about the combustible engine.
Right.
Let's talk about just farming, like on a big scale to feed a village.
Sure.
Let's talk about how long that took. So it was a very interesting one. I'll link it in the description. It's one of my favorites.
Right.
I like that one, and I like the one about the passage of time. Your human lifeline. I've got the timeline of your life poster over there, and it's a very depressing poster.
Oh yeah, it's the
beautiful. It's beautiful, but it's like
best.
But it's like this is the average age where this happens and this happens, and you're like, oh, I'm over here already.
Yeah, no, it's. I was thinking about it. I've got a coworker who has grandkids, and I'm like, no way this person has grandkids. Like, no way they're old enough to have kids who have kids. And then I think about it because I'm 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I could have had kids at 20. Those kids would be 20, and they could have kids. And I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Well, the timing of everything is weird. Like me and my wife, we had kids later, like than most.
I think you guys.
No, I don't think we're in a bad place. I'm just saying,
you guys nailed it.
I feel like we did. Like I feel like we did in a way too, but it's weird to think about where certain people that we know, like even you, like to know you'll be X age when your kid's this age, and like I start doing that math, and I'm kind of like, I'm be an old man. I'll be old man when she's graduating.
Well, I mean, when I say nailed it, I'm talking about like there's married before children and married after children.
Yeah. And
you can't do the same things.
Right.
And you and your wife, I think, took a lot of opportunities to go on some amazing trips and do some really cool stuff and do things that a lot of people can't say they've done.
Yeah.
And you've taken that opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys timed it right. Don't worry about it.
I try not to, but you know, you've known me long enough to know that I am the existential fucking self-destroyer. I am the self-destructor.
It's right, but I think as we get older, we get more and more valuable things.
Yeah.
And the idea of self-destruction just sounds dumber. It's like I don't have to do that.
It does. Well, you before we got started, you were like, I got a piece of marriage advice for you. What was that marriage advice?
Oh, it's if you have a broken can opener or if you need a can opener.
Right. It's a marriage advice for you and your significant other.
You and your significant other. If you need a can opener, go buy a can opener.
Don't buy it as a gift.
No, don't give can openers as gifts. If you need a can opener, go buy one. Same thing with like ironing board, vacuum cleaners, shit like that. If you
you're not supposed to buy an iron for a gift?
No, if you need it. I don't even care if it's her hobby. Like if her hobby is iron on those little stencils that she gets out of her fucking Cricut thing.
Sure.
Don't buy her an iron as a gift. Just buy her an iron.
What if it's the Rodecaster Pro of irons?
The Rodecaster Pro of irons.
I would love a Rodecaster Pro 2 for a gift. That's my tool. That's my iron.
No, it's not.
It's my iron.
No, wait. Nobody like uses an iron. Like, whoo, oh, man, check out this new iron I got. Can't wait to use it. Even if you got a brand new iron, you're like, I got a new iron. I guess this will make things a little easier. But no, it doesn't because you got to learn how like.
You gotta learn the settings. Yeah, you gotta learn the settings. You see, after a while, you kind of know where that fucking dial's.
And you're like, where's my old iron? Give me a.
Yeah, you gotta know where that. It's like I know for this kind of patch, I need this dial here. Mm-hmm. I don't need anything fucking with that. Mm-hmm. Even if you got one that says, I will scan your patch for you and I can put it to the exact heat you need. It's like, then I can't do my little swivel method. Nope. My little swivel method that works.
We had when I was in. So you have basic training in the military, and then after that you go to tech school where they teach you your specific job. And in tech school, there's not a lot of time for like discipline stuff. Like they can't come into your room and yell at you and haze you because you've got to have like sleep and you've got to have time to study. And so like they can't be harassing you.
You need precision and like well-restedness.
Right, because you're going to class every day. And if you fail class, they're going to wash you out and give you a different job. And it
looks bad for them.
Yeah. So, but they still have to be like hard asses, like keep your room clean, make sure your uniform's in order, shit like that. So they still find things to bust your balls on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And one of them was the uniform. And it got to the point where it was like I was either paying $8 every 3 days to get my uniform dry cleaned, or I was starching and pressing it myself.
Right.
And so that's what I would do. And the way you would do it is you would wash it in the washing machine, and then you would not dry it. You just pulled it out of the washing machine. You had a top and a bottom. You pulled it out of the washing machine, and then you had a squirt bottle that you put starch in. And on the side of the bottle, it says that it's like you're supposed to mix it 5-to-1 because it's concentrated starch.
Straight starch.
Just straight, yeah.
It's just mixed concrete.
Right. And you would iron like your pants or your shirt and dry the clothes by ironing it.
Mm.
And then you would completely drench it again by soaking it with starch and then iron it again. And if you did it right, it would sound crinkly like paper.
Yeah.
It would sound like you're shaking a piece of paper if you did it right.
Yeah.
It was the most uncomfortable thing to wear.
It sounds like you'd be wearing like sandpaper.
Oh yeah. And you had like a shirt underneath and you had boxers underneath and stuff like that. But I mean, it was like stiff and rough. And then the sun would bleach it because we'd be standing in formation in the Mississippi sun.
Sure.
And it would just bleach it.
Dude, I gotta imagine sweat just you're talking about like duck head khakis that are water resistant.
Uh-huh.
I gotta imagine sweat just like was a river. Down the leg.
Well, you had to blouse them into you either bloused them into your boot. So you would tuck the bottom of your pants into your boot, and then you would kind of blouse it over the top so it was like that. Or they made these elastic bands, and it was almost like a garter.
Sure.
And you would have it around your ankle, and then you would just roll the pants underneath that.
To keep it taut, yeah. I got you.
But and so there were a couple of different ways of doing it. But sweat would just pool because it wouldn't breathe. The pants wouldn't breathe.
No, there's no way.
And so
it's like wearing a trash bag.
Yeah, so
like wearing a
sweat would just
trash
pool
bag
at the bottom on the top of your socks.
It's like cutting weight for wrestling.
It was in Mississippi heat. It was the only advantage I had was that I worked the night shift. I went to school during the night shift.
Yeah.
So I had two different uniforms. I had one that I would wash and dry like normal, and that's the one I would wear to class.
Right.
And then I had the one that we'd have to stand in formation, and that's the one that I would be pressing almost every day.
I don't envy that.
And but at the same time, it was like you had TV on, and like Netflix had just started, and I had a PO box. And so I was on the program where I was getting 5 DVDs at a time.
Oh, you were on like the Mac Daddy program.
Right. But I could afford it because it was just me, right? And that was I wasn't paying for cable or nothing or internet or anything. That was the only thing I was paying for is my only entertainment. I think it was like $20 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
But I was 5 DVDs and I could run through 5 DVDs. Basically, I had it on 3 and 2 rotation.
2 out, 3 in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was constantly going to my PO box and rotating them. So I was getting my money's worth.
It's good. I mean, honestly,
I was limited to being on base, so I couldn't like go to the Blockbuster and browse or nothing like that. So having it mailed to me was the best. I would go through TV shows. You know how they have like 8 or 9 discs for like a TV series, like CSI Las Vegas.
Right.
We would put CSI Las Vegas on and just start ironing clothes.
Wow. Like honestly, that's one of those things where it worked so well for the time that it was, right? You didn't have the streaming services, but like it worked so well, and you're like, man, because I watched that documentary not too long ago about the last Blockbuster and everything.
Right.
It's like, how did Blockbuster
miss that boat?
Drop the ball so bad and see that people just don't want to leave their house. Like they already. Like, the fact that you're coming to Blockbuster to rent movies is proof enough that you don't want to leave your house. You're leaving the house just so you have something to go back to stay at your house longer for.
Right, but
it was its own thing, though.
It was its own thing.
Ritual.
It was like the ritual of browsing.
Sure.
And you had like your go-to movies that you would go to if like you couldn't find anything, or if you and your brother or you and your sister couldn't agree on what was going on.
Yeah.
You had some go-tos. And as a kid growing up in the Blockbuster age, like, the new releases, like half of them would be rated R, and you're like, fuck me, I can't rent those.
That didn't stop me. Luckily, my parents didn't care about that, but
Yeah, but I mean, it was like for me, it was like no. So like your new release was often limited.
Right.
You could get away with a PG-13 most of the time.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I got older and I could get the other stuff, but like you had the kid section, and obviously you would like from top to bottom you'd rent them out, so you'd seen them all.
Sure, and then you had your like you said, you had your go backs. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what was my go back to? Like some of these were R, but I mean, like Big Lebowski,
Beetlejuice was on always go
Beetlejuice.
back.
I was lucky enough to have a dad that recorded things from. He had the 2 VCRs stacked on top of each other. I was very lucky, so I had a lot of my favorites, but renting wise, always went back to Big Lebowski. Always went back to something like Pulp Fiction or The Mask.
Yeah.
Or, any of those, like any of the Ace Venturas before I owned them on VHS. Yeah. All those. So if all else fails, I know we've seen it a million times, but let's rent this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it usually came down to, after a while, it was just like, all right, you pick one that's just for you. You pick, and then your brother can pick one, and then you guys have to figure out. Like, I was lucky enough to where I could convince my brother. I was old enough where I could always convince him on the game we got. I was like, this is the game we need. This is the game. This is the one. This is why. Yes, we can play. One at a time. We can play. We can play. All right, but we will play. We will play.
Yes, we will.
One at a time.
One at a time. We'll take turns.
But man, I don't know, man. That whole like.
But having the advantage, like I said, having the advantage of ship, like me being in the situation I was in, having it shipped to my PO box like that. Was just really, and I guess if you lived in like an apartment complex.
Yeah.
But how Blockbuster didn't get onto distributing DVDs like that?
They just thought like.
Well, I mean, they were too franchised, weren't they? It was all franchise, and there wasn't enough corporate.
Some of it was franchise, some of it was corporate, but so it was hard to get everyone on the same page. But even the corporate side of things, they were so like, we're king shit for so long. They just didn't see Rome burning under their feet.
Well, and it wasn't even Blockbuster. I mean, there was Vision Video, there was
Video Warehouse.
Video Warehouse. There were like all kinds of mom and pop video stores that did the same thing Blockbuster did in towns that there weren't Blockbusters.
That's true, but they didn't have the infrastructure to make, like Blockbuster had just God money. Like they had fuck yourself money, right? They had the infrastructure to build something like Netflix. They even had the opportunity to buy Netflix at one point, and they fucking didn't take it. That's gotta hurt. Like whoever that guy is, and I think they had him in the DVD. Whoever that guy is, I know he doesn't sleep well any night ever.
How do you think? I mean, what if you were like the head of Netflix DVD distribution? Like you were the vice president of DVD distribution for Netflix.
Okay, sounds nice.
And then they start going into streaming, more, and you're like,
"How can I help? How can I help?"
Right?
Like, honestly, it's like
sure.
It turns into like, "How can I help? What can I do to make this better? Can we?"
Because obviously you guys don't need me anymore. We're not distributing DVDs.
What's hilarious is that guy is still around, and he's the only guy pushing out the remaining DVDs that.
Right, but he's still the VP. He's still getting paid. VP. He's still getting paid like C-level executive.
Yeah, they're like
he's on the board and everything.
Harold has been here from the beginning. Harold believed when no one else believed. Harold told us that Blockbuster could go fuck itself, and I'll always remember Harold for that.
He's probably got like 20% shares or something stupid.
Trust me, that guy doesn't have to worry about anything ever.
See, that's the kind of guy I want to be.
Too. I think we all want to be Harold.
Harold
sounds like a great dude.
What was that movie, Hudsucker Proxy?
Where
the guy shows up and he's like, I got a great idea. Does that. What is it? It's like, it's a hula hoop, or it's a frisbee, or it's like, but every time it's like, he just does that, and it's the next big idea.
It's fucking nuts. I think I saw that movie a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it.
It's,
Wasn't Shawshank Boy on there?
Yeah. Andy Dufresne was in that one. Yeah. Before
Shawshank Boy.
That was before he went to San Montenegro. Actually,
what the fuck is that?
That's where he went at the end of the movie.
Oh, okay.
You can't throw out a Shawshank reference
I know
and
nothing.
then just drop the ball like
No,
that. That's
no, that was too serious for me. It was too serious for me. What are we switching to here? What do we got?
Do you want to go chocolate?
Choco. Let's go Choco.
Let's go Choco. Here,
Let me
I'll
see.
give you the honors.
All right, let's see. We got Canela Oscuro. All right, Canela Oscuro from Southern Grist. Once again, Nash Vegas. Milk stout brewed with lactose, cinnamon, vanilla, cacao nibs, and chili peppers. Enjoy this Mexican hot chocolate inspired treat.
I want to enjoy a hot Mexican.
I mean, who doesn't? Let me show that to the camera real quick. That looks great. That looks great. I mean, you're here, right? You're enjoying me, aren't you? I may not be Mexican, but I'm the closest thing you got.
Hey, a
man.
Peruvian's much better than Mexican.
It's like a bougie Mexican.
You and your Peruvian ass saved me in Colombia.
Why is that?
Because everything was in fucking Spanish. Like, everything. And no one spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw on the menu Lomos Atados. And I was like, I know what that is. That's steak fries. I'll have some steak fries.
That's some of that Peruvian steak frites. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's try this thing out.
Oh, it smells good.
Ooh, that's like a delicious Mexican chocolate cake.
Uh-huh.
Right in your mouth. Just plowed into your mouth.
But that's beer.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. That's more of a dessert wine.
It is kind of
great.
dessert, though, yeah.
It's very dessert. I see having that after like a nice plate of like papa la huancaína and some lomo saltado, maybe a little bit of fried yuca with that pink sauce.
Uh-huh. How the Peruvians feel about pork?
They love it.
They do?
Yeah, you ever had Peruvian fried rice?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh my God. It is I'm blanking on the name right now. Someone's yelling at their radio.
They're not yelling at their radio.
Yeah, they're yelling at their phone.
They're jogging on the track.
And they're rolling their eyes.
And they're just screaming. They're just screaming. Everyone's staring at them.
I gotta look it
They're
up.
not even breaking space. They're just screaming.
Peruvian fried rice. Chaufa. Arroz chaufa.
Yeah, they're just chaufa.
It's fucking chaufa. Doing the Defoe drop. Platoon.
Yeah.
Arroz chaufa. They have like if you go to somewhere like Calientitos and get the pork one, the pork grease just makes it a better fried rice.
So I was in San Diego. And I was introduced to carnitas there. And I could get shredded or chunky, and I couldn't decide, so the guy agreed to give me a little bit of both.
The half and half.
And so the shredded, they take the carnita, the pork, they shred it, and then they deep fry it. And so it's all like crispy as hell.
Right.
And then the chunky, they just like cube the pork, and then they deep fry it. So the outside is crispy and the inside's like stringy and nice and porky.
Right.
And then they served it like this green.
What'd you prefer? Which one did you prefer out of the two?
They both had their merits.
Okay. But if you had to, like, if they're like, you can only get one this time. I'm thinking chunks. In my head, I'm thinking chunks.
Chunks was nice. Like, Chunks is a nice dinner with some, and they had, this particular spot had homemade corn tortillas.
God.
That were like fucking amazing.
Oh.
And so with the chunks.
Little crisp, little soft.
Yeah, so with the chunks, you could kind of like, they had this chili verde. You could just kind of scoop with your tortilla. You could put a chunk in there and just kind of chase it with a tortilla. But the shredded was great because you could take your tortilla and you could just pinch, like pinching a chaw of like tobacco. You could just pinch you.
Big League Chew, whatever your du jour is.
You could just pinch yourself a chaw of like carnita and then just drag it through some like guacamole and then
Oh, just treat it like a little mop. Just
yeah.
mop that sauce right up.
But it was also like really chewy, kind of like jerky.
But not that dry, right?
No,
More
because you
moist.
had lots of sauce. They gave me lots of sauces to play with.
I always preferred like, and this goes back to before I knew anything about barbecue. This goes back to my Sonny's days of barbecue, right? I always preferred the sliced over the pulled. I don't know why. I always thought it was how I was introduced. I think that's probably most of it. I was introduced to sliced. and I was I don't know, just obsessed with it. I love their sliced pork sandwiches.
It depends on what piece of meat it is. Like
Yeah.
if it's like near the pork belly or near the skin or that fat cap, nice and sliced, right?
Yeah.
But if it's like closer to the bone, yeah, good and shred, it's fine.
Okay. All right.
That's my opinion on the matter.
I honestly, I think that, so when was this when you got introduced to carnitas? How long ago was
Well,
this?
I've known about carnitas for a while, but I had San Diego carnitas where they deep fried them. That was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. That little crispy
And I've
morsels.
never had them like deep fried like that. I
Those are
take that
good.
back because in Colombia we went to this rib place, and they deep fried it was pork short ribs that they deep fried.
Some places do that with the pork belly. Pork belly's similar.
Right. And it was but Colombia was weird. It was, again, because I've been all over Europe.
Business or pleasure?
It was business.
Okay.
But you try to have fun,
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah, you're in Colombia.
I mean, fucking
For crying out
Colombia,
loud,
right? Yeah. But it's like in Europe, there's people who speak English and the language that's native there. But in Colombia, there was no one that spoke English.
Yeah.
And the town's not really designed for. It was clear that it was designed for tourists who speak the language,
But not designed for worldwide tourists.
but so if you were coming from Spain or even if you were coming from Sweden, but you were fluent in Spanish,
You'd have a great time.
a great time because you could communicate, and they're very friendly people. There's tons of people in Bogota, but at the same time, I never felt crowded. I never felt like I needed to look over my shoulder or anything like that. Everyone was friendly, orderly kind of thing.
I kind of wonder, like, at that point, like, isn't it worth, and honestly, just knowing what I know about South America, like, it might be worth getting a fixer of some sort, like someone to just be your guide.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting a fixer to just kind of be like, no, we want to go here because these guys have the carnitas you want, right?
Right, yeah.
That's the kind of life I want. I want to go to.
Do you want to
afford-
be the fixer or do you
No.
want a fixer?
God, I don't want to be the fixer. I need a fixer.
You need a
That's what I
fixer.
need. I need a
'Cause-
fixer here in town. But no, I'm just saying, like, that'd be
So
the
if I
bomb,
had a
man.
fixer, though, I would want to go to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. If you had a 100% tried and true fixer, Saudi
Yes.
Arabia. Why is that?
I want to see the cliffs of Petra.
Okay.
So like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade with Sean Connery,
Sure, yeah.
where they go to where the
It's carved in the wall.
cup, and like it's carved. Like that's an actual city called Petra, where they carved into the side of the cliffs, and you can go in, and it's like where they lived, and it's just as ornate as that is. The problem is that they're historical artifacts, but they're not necessarily Muslim historical Islamic historical artifacts,
Sure.
or they're a different tribe of Islam.
So they're not as protected.
So depending on who's in charge and whatnot and legal laws and things like that, it's not the easiest thing to
The attention it gets can vary, right?
right. So it's definitely, if you're gonna go to Petra, you kind of need a fixer.
Which is odd because, like,
You would think it'd be a protected, and they would want to sell it as a tourist and say like
Yeah.
open up to the Western world, come to us.
but they've
Right.
got fuck you money, so they don't care, right?
Yeah,
Like they're just
yeah.
like, I don't care.
They-
I'll
they
have
have chopped
Petra made in
people-
my backyard.
Yeah, they have chopped people up in nobody cares money. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
That's nuts. Like, and there's so many, me and the wife sit back and talk about that all the time when we'll see something on, on the Discovery Channel, or, we see something on a movie or something like that. It's like, that feels terrible that we'll never get to go see that. Most likely. Without an ungodly amount of money and able to hire a proper fixer. Like,
sure.
It feels terrible to know that I can't go and experience that in person.
The other fixer or guide I think I would want is I want to see the Northern Lights.
You need a fixer for that, though?
Well, no, here's what I'm thinking though.
Okay.
Is I'm thinking that there's somebody out there that can give me a Northern Lights experience like no other.
Yeah.
Like ice on the ground, but you're in the hot springs with the steam coming up and the lights coming across the sky, or you're in some fucking yurt covered in polar bear skins, right? and you're chewing on like Inuit jerky, and you're seeing the lights flicker across the sky as you're putting more wood onto the fire.
It's like the Northern Lights version of the GFE, right? The Northern Lights experience.
Yeah.
The old girlfriend experience. The old NLE. Banshee's looking for that NLE.
But I need that premium. I don't need like look out the window, the lights are turning green, motherfucker.
I don't.
It cannot be leave $20 on the nightstand and look out the window, okay? I need high quality here.
I need tried and true NLE. It's all I'm in for.
That's it. You better come with some references, by the way.
You better have a polar skin bear rug. You better have some kind of pickled fish.
Yes,
freshly
definitely.
made in your backyard.
Yes.
I need a smoked salmon dip that you caught. All right.
3 trout.
Right. I want to be regaled by your stories of the old country.
Under the lights.
Yeah. I want to hear about how your great grandfather slayed that bear that you're laying on right now. Right? I want to hear that. Regale me.
Yeah, that's
a pretty good one.
That's what we need to add to FetLife.
Because you know what's FetLife.
You don't know what FetLife is?
Well, hang on before we get to FetLife.
Okay, sorry.
But you know that.
Sorry to jump the shark.
No, you're fine. I just got to let's put a pin in that, as they say in the corporate world, right?
Yeah.
But you know that there is that exists somewhere. Someone has that all to themselves. That experience where they can just lay out and they've got the best view of the Northern Lights, and no one else has it because they have this somewhere on their 5,700 acres in Alaska.
Right. So I'm not saying you need a fixer for that, but
someone could be a fixer for that.
Right. No, FetLife is it's a Tinder or a Bumbl, if you will, for
Star Wars nerds.
No, for the fetish lifestyle.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Boba Fett, but
so like if you like pineapples and you're a swinger. Or if you like to be strapped and spanked or whatever your flavor,
whatever your
you're
NLE,
supposed to have it,
right?
But so I'm sure we could start a hashtag NLE on FetLife, and we could get a community together of people who really desire that quality experience.
I have a feeling though, if you're going to do that on FetLife, if you're going to start that kind of movement, you might get that NLE experience you're looking for, but there's probably going to be some sort of weirdness attached to it. And it's like, look, I'm going to show you this place, but
are you saying
what are you going to do for
me? Are you
me?
saying NLE could stand for something else?
It could. I don't know.
Like North Louisiana experience? That's
no, not even
just
that.
ask the Yvonne. That's very different.
Not even that. I'm talking about there's a guy that's got that view of the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
But he's also got his own fets that he's going to want to get.
Yeah, he wants that Northern larynx. That's
what
he wants. Yeah. That NL experience. Yeah. I got you.
He wants that Northern squeal like a pig experience. Right? Right when the Aurora Borealis is climbing.
I do not think it climaxes.
There's a peak to the show. There's a peak to the show.
I don't know. I don't think so.
There's got to be a point in the show where it's the brightest and the most active, and then it starts to move down from there. It has to be. Every show has its peak. Every NLE.
And that's when we knew the NLE was over. Just started going downhill from
That's
there.
when the NLE Mafia were just like, we got to find these two guys and shut them down.
It's getting out.
They're getting too close to the source. Get our FetLife folks on this. Find them now. Oh, man. But that's honestly, it's funny you bring that up because that is something that the wife brings up all the time is the Northern Lights. Wants to see them. Have you seen Northern Lights before?
I have not.
Really? With all the traveling, you never...
I've come close and not realized it.
One of those things where you found out something was somewhere and you were like, I was just fucking there.
I was in Alaska at night, which is half the battle.
Sure. You're most of the way there. It's more than half.
Well,
Alaska's fucking far.
I've been in Alaska where it didn't get dark. And that was a fucking pain in the ass.
What was that movie with, what's his name? Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
I don't know that movie.
Insomnia?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. He was a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
anyway. No,
You were
but
close.
I was there at night, and then if I was smart about it, there was like this beautiful Mirror Lake Park that was like an hour outside of Anchorage. I had already gone hiking there earlier that day. It was easy hike. It was
Away
beautiful.
from all the light pollution.
And it was late. Yeah. And I was like, I probably could have gone out there and gotten lucky. And they had like an observation tower and whatnot. But instead, I just stayed at the hotel. And, I didn't put two and two together until like a couple of days later. I was like,
God damn it.
I could have had myself an NLE.
Dude, the NLE was at my fingertips and I fucking let it go. I'm going to be thinking about that one forever.
Right?
Yeah.
The one that got away, man.
The one that got away. I'm going to be thinking about it. It's going to keep you up at night. In about 8 years, you're going to be like, fuck. Fuck. We'll go to the fucking shop and fire up the forge now. Bang on some steel. Get my anger out.
So, I want to fix her for an NLE. I want to go to
good, yeah.
I want to go to Petra.
Petra would be I think going to all those places that are like cuz Northern Lights can be done in some capacity, right? Sure, you can get you got your varying levels, but sure, it can be done. But yeah, things like Petra, things like going to see even in some depending on what's going on in that area of the world, the pyramids. Like going to see the pyramids is not it's not a fucking picnic.
Moscow, Red Square.
Yeah. That's becoming less and less of a possibility.
Morocco and that area.
Mm-hmm. What's the other one? Jordan? Jordan's the one that's got what's the thing in Jordan that are like
with
carved
the
into
Palestinians and stuff. But there's tons of, you've got like the Wailing Walls and you've got tons of stuff there. And that whole, like Jordan, Israel, that whole like Syria.
Just all that beginning of civilization shit is fucking nuts.
Stuff there, yeah. Cradle of, I mean, you have the whole Crusades that happened there, right?
Cradle of civilization.
Yeah, so it's a lot of artifact stuff there. It's kind of neat.
That's honestly some of my favorite shit, right? Is when you go to, when you go to like ruins in Peru and you're like, holy shit, this was like so long before we even had a country,
right?
Like so long before quote unquote America was found. But I just think about that. Like that's what I love about going to those old spots. That's what intrigues me about going to like Europe and stuff like that. I'm like, these buildings have stood so much longer than anything has stood where I live.
Well, no, that was when I lived there, the very first week that the wife showed up, I had already planned for us to go see a castle that was like 30 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And the next week we drove 45 minutes to a castle. The next week we drove 55 minutes to a castle. And we were just circling outwards. And I had a guy that worked with us that was British, and I was telling him what we were doing, and he gave me a map. And he goes, these are the ones you should be going to next, and this is the order you should be going in, and providing like advice.
Fixer.
Almost every weekend we were going to see a castle.
Yeah.
And we'd be standing around and we'd like, yeah, this was built in 1130.
You're like, what?
And I was like, shit didn't happen until like 17, whatever.
Yeah.
It was 1130.
My ancestors weren't even sperm yet.
You're right? Yeah, it's like just really old shit, man. And there's just like really old buildings. Like you go to old pubs that were like open in like 1430.
Yeah.
You know,
that's the kind of stuff I love.
Yeah, like, so this has been a pub since 1430. And they're like, yeah. I was like, in the same family? And I was like, nah, people buy it and sell it and whatnot, but it's been an open pub since then, yeah.
And, dude, that's the kind of stuff I love. Like, you're lucky when you find those people, because even when we travel somewhere like here in the States, right? I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna ask. So we will maybe know a couple of breweries to go to, or maybe one good restaurant. And the first thing I'm doing is like I'm finding my temporary fixer, right? I'm just like, hey, where do you like to go for beer? Where's your spot you like to go at when you're not working here, right? You kind of find those moments to just be like, what do you like? Because that's how I found most of the stuff that I found in up in North Carolina. It was like someone being like, oh yeah, this new brewery is opening up over there, Burial. It's amazing. You should go check it out. They're really small. They just opened. And it turns out to be my favorite brewery. And then they fucking explode in growth, And then, you find out about stuff like that. But anytime we're on the road, I'm just like, where else? What else you got? Because you find out about so much other shit because the locals just know. Because they're always there.
It's as much as I hate working with them, the police are normally also good resources for good spots to eat.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because they have to go to.
Yeah. So, or what I'll do is I'll cruise downtown. Like if I'm in a small town,
Yeah.
I'll cruise real slow at like 11 o'clock or 11:30, and wherever I see the most cop cars, that's where we're eating lunch.
Yeah.
That's the mom and pa we're gonna go eat lunch at.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense, right? They're gonna go where it's delicious because they got to be in the same area all the time, right?
Right. Yeah.
If I'm gonna be here, I'm having this Cuban sandwich.
Right. Or you don't know what the specialty is all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And then the other thing that I'll do every once in a while is like I'll look on like food TV.
Yeah.
Because they have those shows about like these chefs that went and ate at this restaurant and it was fucking amazing, right? Or like Guy Fieri goes to these dives and shit,
And then ruins them because so many people go.
But every once in a while, you'll find yourself in a town with one of these restaurants and you'll just stop by. It's fucking delicious.
Yeah, dude, I love that. That's my favorite shit. Like, why? Like, because you have when people come, like, there's certain people who will come to town, and you'll be like, "What do you want to do? What do you normally go to? Like, what kind of stuff you like?" TGI Fridays, like that, like, literally, like that's. But some people grew up. I grew up like that.
Like if you came to Athens, and like Clint, let's go out tonight.
Yeah.
Like bet, we going expensive, we going easy. What you want?
Yes.
You want to go expensive
And easy.
Then
Yes.
we're gonna go to the National downtown.
Okay.
Gonna
Give me my food NLE experience.
And then we're gonna have a nice meal at National,
Sure.
but we're not gonna have dessert there.
Hold it back.
Then we're gonna walk up the street. We might swing into Little King Shuffle Club.
Okay.
Maybe, depending on if there's a band there, what's popping. We might sling on by and go to the World Famous. Because then we can get a freshly squeezed juice cocktail at the World Famous. We can get like they got cheerwine cocktails. They got cocktails named
Fresh fruits, yeah.
Yeah, fresh fruit squeezed. They got sweet pork buns if you're a little still hungry. You shouldn't be. But they got some neat desserts there. But we're not stopping there for dessert either. We're going to have one or two cocktails there. We're going to continue down the street. We're going to hit up Trapeze. That's where we're having dessert.
Okay.
They got a great dessert menu most of the time there.
Yeah.
We can have a couple of beers. Then from there, we're either going up the hill towards Max Canada. It's not Max Canada anymore. It's something else now, I think. But it's just a regular hole-in-the-wall bar where you can drink PBR or MGD and hang out and not worry about it. You pretty much end the night there.
Yeah. You can end the night there. You can end the night.
If the people don't like the vibe that you're at, you just keep walking up the fucking hill, man.
Keep going. Keep going. Catch an Uber down to Normal Town. Go to Hilo. Go to Hilo. Go to Old
either.
Pal.
Yeah,
Normal
yeah.
Bar. Any of that place to get away from the crowds. Go to a place that has anti-fascist, anti-racist establishment on the window. You know you'll be in good company.
No, I think I would save Normal Town for night 2.
Normal Town's a good night too.
Like we'd either like start with happy hour at Sea Bear, and then either do second happy hour at that Square One.
And we'll openly weep at our bills
Yeah.
before we leave.
Yeah. And then maybe just small plates at Hilo. Right? That's like one of those you're not feasting all night. You're just eating enough to keep the drunk at bay.
That's one of our good haunts. I like when we do high-low nights because I feel like that's just got the, like, especially on like a non-busy night, perfect atmosphere. Like you want a bar, like even if you're taking locale out of it, you want a bar that's got like some good fatty food to go along with your alcohol.
Bet.
A awesome, an awesome tap list and good drinks. The Corpse Reviver #2 at that place is fucking off the hook.
No, they most definitely have great cocktails, great beer list, and they've got really good like bar food.
Yeah. And they don't like racists. I love it.
And it's not it's not ever really that crowded. It's a nice atmosphere. But it's where Allen's used to be, And that was a great bar.
Yeah.
Allen's was a fun hang.
I never went to Allen's when it was there. Never
They used
did.
to have hot dogs and hamburgers that were like cheap as fuck, like less than $1 for a hamburger.
3 beers on tap.
They had 3 beers on tap, but all their they serve the coldest beer in town.
Miller, Coors, and Bud.
Uh-huh.
That was it.
Was
Those
it?
are your choices.
And the
By the
beer was
pitcher.
cheap. You get it by the pitcher, and you play pool all night. And it was just a cool hang.
I miss a good pitcher place. I feel like the pitchers
Yeah.
made you drink a little faster so you didn't have to drink warm beer by the end.
Well, we have COVID to thank for that, I think.
No, I think they figured out. I think bars everywhere figured out that you get more money if you make people come to the bar every time they need a drink.
Well, and I think it's
That's why when you get to a place that there's a pitcher, you're like, oh fuck, they got pitchers.
it exposes you to underage or overconsumption.
It's true. Yeah, you can kind of gauge each time someone comes up, right?
Because we used to have
It's no fun.
right next to Papa John's on Baxter was Gumby's. And on Tuesday, starting at 4:00, it was 25-cent pitchers. And
What?
it started at 50 cents. And every 15 minutes it went up by 50 cents. So we'd show
How
up.
fucking irresponsible.
So we'd show up
I'm going to throw that out there.
and we would buy 6 pitchers.
One each.
Right now, 6 pitchers. And they would give us a couple of cups for each pitcher, right? And then you take one of those cups and you go up to the soda machine and you fill it with ice. And then you would just float that cup of ice in your pitcher of beer because they were the short, squatty pitchers with the handle on the side. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Kind of that brownish yellow color.
Yeah. Well, no, they were the clear ones, the little plastic buckets.
Oh,
The
yeah.
shorties.
Yes.
And you would float that cup of ice in them and you would just drink beer.
They look like a big. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking, they look like just a big version of your generic plastic cup you get anywhere, but they had a handle and a spout on them, and they're just a little bit bigger.
They were what, about, would you say 6 inches in diameter, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Probably 6 to 7 inches tall.
They just had them stacked to the ceiling behind the counter.
They're disposable. I mean, we'd take them home with us.
Now that's like some Panama City Beach shit. Like you'll get that at Panama City. You know where you'll find pictures now? Brunch spots, mimosas, pictures of mimosas.
Do you remember Steve Areno's
Fly in my face.
where they had the big 32-ounce mug, the plastic 32-ounce mug?
No. Yes, I do.
And you would buy the mug and they would refill it at a discount.
It's fucking crazy. Yes, I do remember that.
And
A lot of places had those after
and you
a
would
while.
get a new mug each year. These little plastic, they were these plastic 32-ounce mugs.
Man.
Those were
types
the
of
days.
deals, the types of deals that used to be around before the Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Right, before we fucked it up. We fucked it up. They gave us great shit, and then we completely fucked it.
We had the world, and we're talking about this like we were of age. when
Right,
all this
no,
was
we weren't
around.
even of age. We were barely of age. We were coming of age.
Humans will fuck up a good thing no matter what.
Yeah,
Regardless.
at their fingertips. We had all the world's knowledge at our fingertips. The internet was budding and new. We didn't go to one web page.
Right.
We went to hundreds of web pages. We downloaded this app called Stumble Upon, which would help us go to different web pages we had never gone to before. Finding a new web page that no one else had seen was the best thing you would come to your friends group and go, do you know about this web page?
I haven't thought about Stumble Upon in so long.
But now we go to one web page. We go to Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Outlook. We go to Google Mail. We go to we go to
Reddit.
Twitch,
Reddit's about the closest thing you got now. 'Cause
Reddit.
that connects to a bunch of shit.
but not really.
It's an aggregate.
But it's not now. Mostly it's a news aggregate of news sites.
Isn't it what you make it, though?
Well, I'll concede.
All right. Home is where you make it. Let's take a break. Let's rinse these cups. What you got? You got a song you want to hear? What do you want to hear? Anything?
Let's listen to some Real Big Fish. Let's have a beer.
Okay. What do you want? Just beer from Real Big Fish?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hit it?
I can hit it right now. The post?
Yes.
Can we hit the post? All right. Let's see. Is it a quick one? I can't remember.
I don't.
You don't remember? All right, let's see if we can do it. Here we go. All right, we're gonna listen to some Beer by Real Big Fish. This is Lopez Radio. My boy Banshee is hanging out with us right now. All right. Oh, were you ready? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't have to be. Sorry. We're back. We're back with fresh glasses. What's our next dealio here from Southern Crest?
It is the Batida with passion fruit and guava and mango. It is a. That's what I said. Yep.
It's exactly the thing.
I thought it was gonna have more information, but it doesn't. So there you go.
Probably just deliciousness.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
I'm down.
I've never had anything from this particular brewery that tasted bad.
Yeah, they do very little wrong, and I have yet to go. I want to go really bad.
It's really worth it, especially if you're in Nashville, because they've got a restaurant at one of the locations that's really good.
What kind of food?
Like a mix of like sweet buns and stuff like that,
Sure.
and like burgers and stuff,
Okay.
and like French fries and a la carte and
Salud, baby.
salud. This looks much thicker.
Let me, you want to reach back behind you and close that door real quick? Oh,
I can.
thank you very much. Oh, this is like a Mai Tai almost. It's like a mixed drink.
Yeah.
It's like a canned cocktail.
Those are great, by the way. Canned
Yeah,
cocktails.
those are becoming a lot more popular.
You have to be careful that they're not made with malt liquor.
Okay. Yeah.
So get them from liquor stores, unless you're not in the South and you're like everyone else, and then you may be able to find them at gas stations or grocery stores.
Yeah.
But some of them are made with malt liquor,
Ugh.
and those are kind of like Zimas or like wine coolers,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then they have some like you can get them made with like Cutwater vodka, and it's
Yeah.
or like you can get Palomas, where it's like actual tequila, or they're really big in New Mexico. Whenever we go out to New Mexico, there's a couple of canned margaritas that we get that are on point. Like,
You know what I've been a fan of is speaking of canned stuff, like ranch water. Ranch water's been great.
ranch
I love
water
the
is good
Topo
stuff.
Chico ranch water.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that breweries like Scofflaw in Atlanta are starting to do like things like ranch water.
Yeah.
Just give me a little. It doesn't have to be sweet. Doesn't have to be sour. Just make it taste like a margarita, or just something pleasant, right?
Just some seltzer and some tequila, and then just a kiss of lime. That's
I
a
saw
ranch
too
water right
that
there.
what is it? I love Bullet. We've got a bottle of Bullet sitting in front of us right
Do
now.
we got to? I think we got to. If you got to,
Bullet rye. I've been trying to venture into the rye a little bit, right?
Bullet Rye is a good rye to start with.
And I was seeing that they had pre-mixed Bullet cocktails at the store too. I haven't tried them. I've heard people say, like a couple people say they hated them because they're like they're not heavy enough, man. I was like, well, come on, dude. What do you want them to do? They're not gonna sell themselves out, right?
They're not going to sell a double.
Yeah, they're not your favorite bartender, downtown, right? They're making a proper drink. Like that's the way you're supposed to pour it. So I don't know whether to believe you or not.
Right.
So I think they've got one cocktail that uses the rye, and they have one cocktail that uses I think it's an old fashioned maybe that uses
The problem I have with rye is that it can get out of hand real fast.
In what way?
It can turn to like Robitussin medicine, almost like Jaeger. Like
we don't
rye
want that.
can get like really spicy
Yeah, you don't want that medicinal.
and very medicinal. Yeah, and some people that's what they want in a rye, and they seek that out, and
Yeah.
they're like you're fucking stupid talking bad about ryes that way, but that's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's well, I'm the same. Honestly, I'm the same way with bourbons. Like I don't want them to be too syrupy. Sometimes you get like a bourbon that's so thick, you're like
Yeah,
I don't want a syrupy bourbon. Like give me a nice normal bourbon Don't try to over bourbon it for me. You know, we get it. You love bourbon, but I don't need that much wood in my life, right?
Right. Well, I mean, I think bourbon, you get a nice wood, you get that nice bitter wood caramel flavor.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just sweetness. And it all comes down to basically how much corn they put in it. And the more corn they put in, the sweeter it's going to be. And the less, the more bitter it's going to be. And then there's that balance, right? And then it's just, and I don't know, there's bourbon aficionados that'll disagree with me, but yeah, I can taste a delicious, expensive bourbon better than a Bullet.
Yeah.
But if you're just like sending the wife to the liquor store to get some bourbon, like, hey, just get a bottle of Bullet. You know,
Yeah.
she can't mess that one up.
You can't mess up Frontier whiskey.
I don't
You
think
can't
so.
fucking do it.
I don't think so. If nothing less, it's in a cool bottle.
It's in a great bottle, and it's been around since the times of like Deadwood and shit. Like, it's been around for fucking ever.
It'll get you drunk.
I'm okay with it. You know, Deadwood's the reason why I started even drinking Bullet. Like,
Really?
why I even started trying whiskey and bourbon and stuff like that.
Deadwood.
I didn't like
I've
it
never
before.
even watched that show.
Oh my god, dude!
It's
It was the pandemic saver.
I
Over
haven't
here.
watched The Wire. I know.
It was kettle made popcorn, Bullet bourbon, and Deadwood
Deadwood.
for weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you like the happiest point of my life. Kid aside.
Sure.
Kid aside.
Was season finale of Deadwood?
Just watching, just the whole
Just the whole experience.
the experience, the ritual we made out of it.
Oh, I dig that. Like, me and my wife have done shows like that. The one that had what's his face from Evil Dead, but it's set in Miami.
Not Bruce
Burn
Campbell.
Notice. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Bruce Campbell. Okay, Burn Notice. Yeah, now I
Yeah,
remember.
Bruce Campbell. Burn Notice. Yeah. It was like that with Burn Notice. We watched all of them, and it was that ritual where like the wife would get home from work, I'd get home from work.
Do dinner.
We wouldn't even do dinner. We would sit down and watch an episode, and then we would, after one episode, we would then discuss what are we doing for dinner.
And then when does the second episode come on?
That depends on what the discussion was for dinner. Like,
Okay.
hey, we've got to meet some friends, or we're going to the movies tonight, or we're going downtown, or
Mhm.
hey, I've got leftovers we can microwave. It's like, bet. So like those nights, the next episode comes on pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also like that was the weird part. That was the weird part of my marriage where it was just me and the wife.
Mm.
We were both in England, but we were watching AFN, which is like Armed Forces Network TV.
Mhm.
We had 8 channels, like an ABC and NBC, a public access channel, a movie channel, a sports channel, and like a home and garden channel, like Discovery Channel mix. And it was all commercial-free television that was given to the military. So the military would make up their own commercials, and it would, and the commercials would be like, "Don't throw away your uniforms; the enemies can get it," or like "Loose lips sink ships," right?
Yeah.
Or they would be like geared towards your kids, like, "Hey, we have to move in PCS again. Oh man, that sucks." And then it's like, "Yeah, but you get a new room," and they're like, "Oh yeah, excited, new room." Like,
Really?
yeah. Or they would have commercials about
Positive spins on terrible situations.
Yeah. I mean, you know, shit like that, man.
It's like almost like they did after school specials for their fucking commercials.
Yeah, no. And it was, I mean, and some of them were like, you could tell they were produced by the Department of Defense. They were like really well produced. And then some of them were done by like MatchCom, and it was like on community college budget. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And, you know, and some of those are like the best. Like we had OPSEC's cat. So OPSEC is Operation Security. So you're not supposed to talk about like, hey, wife, I know I'm deployed and I love you and this is my one phone call this week, but don't worry, we're flying home tomorrow at 11 o'clock. You're not supposed to say that because that's a troop movement. It's OPSEC, Operation Security.
Yeah.
And so they would be, the mice would be running around, and then there would be a cat, and they would put like paper headphones on this cat, and he's always listening in to what the mice are talking about. And it's all like cell phone recorded construction paper, like with drawings on the outside, like what the dialogue was.
Sure.
Like, yikes, you got me again. But it was just like written in hand on a piece of paper.
Oh no.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
but it was so endearing, and it's the shit you remember.
Right.
But every
It
night,
was so bad, it's just ingrained in your brain. That's why it's designed like that.
but every night at 9:00, there would be an episode of Good Eats with Alton Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and then we would watch 2 episodes of Friends, and then we would turn the TV off. And I don't like Friends. I'm not a huge Friends fan.
But
I
you're a
don't
fan of the ritual.
But that was the ritual, was we would watch 2 episodes. And you start watching an episode of Friends, and it's like, it's not the worst TV.
Right.
Like, it's not bad TV. It's not the Kardashians, right? It's decent fucking television. Come on.
You know, here's the thing about Friends. And there's some others that kind of fall into this. Friends, for some reason, I've noticed, kind of like it was closer to our parents' generation that was watching it, right? It kind of, like, there are people in our generation that liked it and know a lot about it, but it kind of leapt over most of us, and it's landed in the next generation behind us.
Well, I think it's because it hit Netflix, and so they can
just watch it.
like, so the parents
Kind of like The Office was for a
right.
while.
So the parents then introduced it to the kids on Netflix. Like, here, watch Friends with me. Because truth be told, Friends is like very PG compared to a lot of other things.
Sure.
It's easy to watch in front of the kids, kind of stuff. There's a couple episodes that's kind of like you gotta explain some shit, but
Sure. As you would.
But I mean, like, what's like? That's not the worst that has to happen. You have to have a conversation with your kids about something.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true. I don't know, man. There's just something I feel like you almost always have to have, and right now we're kind of in a flux, right? In a.
Well, it's where the media is coming from. That's changing. So like from our parents, like, grew up, like, our fathers grew up on television, like, when it was invented, right? And they remember, like, the early shows, and they remember, like, Bonanza and stuff like that, where you didn't get a choice. It was just what the fuck was on.
Yeah.
And then we had our generation where you only had like 5 or 6 channels. You had the TV guide to tell you what was coming on, but you would have like your Saturday movie night on ABC, right?
Yeah.
Or CBS. You would have your Sunday movie on CBS.
Well, and everybody was talking about the same things the next week because there was only so many things to watch.
Right. So everybody on Tuesday was talking about Ally McBeal that was on Monday, right? Everybody on Friday was talking about the Seinfeld episode on Thursday. It was you had TGIF. You had, like, had our television shows.
It was a ritual, man.
And it was the ritual, and you were in front of it, and you watched it live because it was that you
had to.
You had TiVo, right, and DVR.
Sometimes,
but that was if you were bougie as shit, man.
Yeah, not us.
Only the rich folks had that shit, right?
You better be there, or fucking be square.
Mm-hmm. And then now, like, my kids don't watch TV; they watch YouTube. They watch Hulu. Where they'll watch, like, some series.
Yeah.
And they'll just watch episode after, like,
on a laptop, on a phone.
And they'll watch episode after episode. Like you know,
while
how,
they're
like,
sitting in the room with you.
Like, you know, people watch The Office and it ends and they just watch the beginning all over again. Yeah, my kids like this. It's a particular show about these kids that go to summer camp.
What's it called?
It's Bunked. It's a Disney show.
Okay.
And it's a spinoff of another Disney show.
And it's current, or is this over? Is it wrapped?
I don't know, but there's like 8 or 9 seasons.
Bunked. Okay.
And he'll start it over again, and that's his show.
You know, him and his friends are just gonna be quoting it. They're gonna be our age.
But that's it. They don't have friends where they do that. Like we would have friends and we would quote shit and we'd watch shit and we'd quote it, and like we would sing the theme song and stuff like that. They don't do that.
They just watch what they're going to watch.
They just watch whatever the fuck they want to watch, and they don't really talk about it that much.
That sounds nice, actually.
Like,
so, I mean, like, there's the merits of being able to recite all the lines of a movie with your friends and all that stuff. But then there's also the merit of not having to hear people be like, oh, dude, you got to check out blah, 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 or you're a piece of shit.
They don't talk about it. Like, they just don't talk about what they watch. It's not.
What do they talk about?
I can't figure it out yet. I've got
they talk?
I've got a teenage daughter. And just recently, she's turned this corner like the social butterfly. And it was, what we were doing was they had a Studio Ghibli that does like Spirited Away and
Bunch of animes, right?
a bunch of anime, Howl's Castle, Kiki. Anyway, they were having this film fest over the summer at the Georgia Square Mall. And it was the last weekend of every month they were having a screening. And so we were going to the mall, and I kept telling my wife, like, we need to get my daughter to invite her friends to go do this thing. And so eventually it was the last one. It was Spirited Away. And so she invited a bunch of her friends, and like 2 or 3 of them took her up on it. And so they all came by the house, and then my wife drove them all up to Atlanta. They hung out at the mall, went shopping, and then they saw the movie, and they came home. It was a great time. And then from that, my daughter's gone on like other play dates with other friends. And I'm like, hell yeah, get out of the house. Like,
it's amazing how that chain reacts, though, right?
Right, but like hang out with these other people. Like, hang out with other families other than ours.
You're like, yeah, this is how we did it back in the day. We found common interest and we got the fuck out of the house.
Right, but you also got to learn how like other families work. Like you got your family and how you do things, but like to see other families and see like,
yeah, there's
some importance in that, I think.
I feel like there is, and I think too, like, I don't know, man. Like, I think maybe, and this isn't maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe they're just like, you just had those times. Like, I remember being like, I gotta get the fuck out of this house. Maybe it's just too pleasant. They're like, this is fucking great. Why would I ever leave? Like,
I guess. I don't know. But it was
my parents are great. Like, why would I ever fucking
leave? There'd
leave?
be times when I'm like, I want to have friends over, or I want to go to a friend's house, and I didn't think to ask my parents because like they're gonna say no.
You think, how much do you think? Well, I mean,
and like how much would they have really said no? I don't know. I just never asked them because I didn't have the confidence that they would say yes to something like that.
You ever offer that and be like, hey, don't your friends want to come hang out?
No, never. It was nothing like that. So like I just wanted so I'm thinking in my head like I want to just make sure I go out of my way to make sure the kid knows
they can do that shit.
Yeah, like that's allowed.
That's like it is weird, but I think like if I think back to all my friends that came over, like my house was like always the last place people came over to, because it was tiny. Couldn't really be like obnoxious and have fun, right?
Right.
But the friends that did want to come over were always like, not that they were getting out of a bad situation, but they were like they were like maybe they were tired of their siblings, or
right.
They didn't get along with their parents. There's like, I don't care if your house sucks. I need to come out and get out of my house, right?
I dig.
So, but like I spent so many weekends at a friend's house. My buddy Ryan, every weekend, sometimes 2 nights a weekend. If it was spring break, it was most of the week. I was gone. It was great.
Right.
And like, not that I had a bad home life, I just didn't want to fucking be there because it was just tiny and cramped and like all the same shit, you know?
Right. And Ryan had all the cool shit.
Ryan was an only child.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have to share shit with brothers. Like it just was, and his parents were doing their own thing. He had older parents and they didn't give a shit. Like they were like, they gave a shit, but they didn't, like, the oversight wasn't there.
Right.
So we could go and do shit.
Yeah.
We could just go walk around.
Right.
Well, let's walk a mile this way and see what the fuck's down there.
Precisely.
Right?
No, I dig it.
And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that you didn't have, I mean, we had our movies we rented for the weekend. We watched the fuck out of.
Right.
You get bored with it. You go do something else. It's just, I think it's too comfy to be at home because it's a comfort zone, and it's not a bad thing, right? You want your kids to be comfortable at your house. And everything's at your fingertips. Like, why do you need, like, until you see the benefit of it, like your kid just did, right? Then you got no reason to be like, why? Like, I've got everything I need here. Like, I can watch Bunked over and over again.
Right.
And no one fucks with me.
Well, like, so no, like now my daughter, she's like on her phone, like blip 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 blip. And part of me
Think
is
it's
like,
gonna go too far the other way now.
well, I don't think so. I mean, like the boomer, the old man. It's too far the other way, but like, fuck it, man. I mean, that's
not in like a boomer way, but in like a now she's never around.
well, I already have that. She's very much so a shut-in. She loves she'll just shut herself in her room.
Keeps herself.
Just entertains herself.
Not looking forward to those days. Right now, I'm not looking forward to those days. I know they're coming. I know there's nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes you do want it to happen. Like you just need.
Sure.
You need your kid to entertain themselves.
No.
And there are days when I go like, okay, Kate, like you can't go into your room. You got to hang out with us. We're gonna watch a movie on TV.
It's probably devastating to her.
She's kind of bummed, but she digs. Like, especially if we can get a good movie on TV, she'll watch a good movie, right? We watched that one with that Jason Momoa guy.
Aquaman?
Yeah, it's Slumberland.
Oh, okay.
On Netflix.
I was just naming a Jason Momoa movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, but if you haven't seen that one,
okay.
It kicks you in the dick, kind of like Up does, right up front. It's just fucking just
sure
rips your bowels out.
Mm.
And then the rest of the movie, it kind of builds back up to kick you in the dick one last time before it ends.
Okay.
But all said and done, it was a great movie. It's PG, so it was friendly, kid friendly. The kids loved it. Jason did an amazing job.
I heard he's a great guy. I heard he's an amazing dude.
Like,
Really
I think
nice.
he was acting in Aquaman. I think he was genuine in this movie. Like, this is just who he is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was acting because it was just he just plays an amazing character that's full of life.
My dad managed to get some extra work with my grandfather on a series that Jason Momoa did called The Red Road.
Okay.
And it's what you think it is, The Reservation.
Uh-huh.
It's very Reservation Dogs-esque, right? And so they got my Peruvian granddad and my dad to just basically be natives. My grandfather was one of the background like native elders, right? And so my dad tells the story every time he sees Jason Momoa on the TV.
Right.
And so the extras, everybody who wasn't like build cast, right? Like they weren't like the top cast folks. They had their own area to be in. They had their own food line. And then all the good stuff was obviously with all the stars, right? All the people who were the stars and the co-stars, right? And this is the point where my grandfather's kind of losing it anyway. So, and he just saw there was food over there. He's like, what the fuck's over there, right? He goes over there and starts getting food from the line, whatever. And my dad was like, no, we got to go back over here, and like turn around and run into Jason Momoa, and he's like, it's cool. My dad's older. Just if they have any problems with it, tell them to come talk to me. And they had a conversation about their dads and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool as shit, man.
It seems really cool, man. Like, so like I've got like a good respect for that because I know that guy was like kind of has that vibe about him. Some people could care less.
Right. No, it's you. Yeah, I catch that from him as well. He just seems like really down to earth. And he also doesn't seem like the kind of guy that just plays. He just does whatever he wants. Like, he's got to be a nightmare to his agent.
I'm sure.
Right?
I fucking love it though.
Like, his agent's got like we got to capitalize on this Aquaman thing, and he's like,
I'm going to get beers. I don't know what you're talking about.
I got paid. I'm good for a while.
I know the guy at the Guinness Brewery. I'm going there for a week.
Yeah, just.
What was it like? Wasn't it him that had like the workout routine? It was like this insane workout routine, and he was like, "Yeah." Then I go home and I have 2 Guinnesses as soon as I walk in the door.
Probably.
Pretty sure it was, and like all the trainers were like, "Don't do that. Don't do that."
He's just he strikes me as somebody who's genuine, who doesn't care.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
That's a good one. That Slumberland though. And then I watched that All Quiet on the Western Front.
Newer?
Yeah, the newer one.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's done by a German film crew.
Okay.
So it's available either in Dutch or you can get it in
They love their Westerns, man.
English overdub.
They love their Westerns. They love blue jeans over there, too.
But
it's pretty good.
This was intense.
So you managed to get the kid out to watch that, right?
Oh, no, yeah, we got the kid out to watch the Spirited Away stuff. That was fun. She's super into anime, which is fine.
Yeah. I wonder what they talk about. Like, I felt like all we talked about when we were in school was the movies we watched, the TV shows we watched.
We were talking about WWE wrestling, right?
CDs we were listening to.
What you were listening to. Did you hear the newest CD of this?
It's not there anymore.
And like that's it's still
They're
there.
like, no,
it's still
I'm
gotta
listening to
be
this
there.
South Korean pop band.
It's still got to be there. Like it's just.
You think they're secretive about it?
I think there's just different niches, and we're not exposed to it. So I mean, and like my daughter's slightly exposed to it, but like her friend group is very narrow.
They're a slice of the pie.
Yeah,
They're a slice of a pie.
Yeah, there's still, and she's not even near high school yet. Like that's when like. It wasn't until high school when you think about like I mean you listen to music, sure, and you more than most people did. Like you were asphyxiated with the radio,
sure.
But like you listened to other genres of music and stuff like that kind of ballooned more in high school.
Yeah, you started picking lanes a lot more.
But you were aware of the other lanes as well.
Yeah.
But again, like we had a channel that did nothing but play music videos. And it wasn't MTV.
The box,
remember?
Yeah. But like it was weird because you as much as you knew the lanes you chose to be in, the CDs you chose to buy,
right.
You still couldn't help but be exposed to what was in the mainstream.
Sure.
Like you still had to be exposed to the mainstream if you watched anything on TV because everything revolved around it, right? And there wasn't because there weren't things like YouTube, you couldn't go down your little rabbit holes of just the same types of things.
No, we had things like 120 minutes.
Yeah.
That came on at like 12:30 at night on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Like that you just had to be there for.
Yeah. Headbangers Ball, like stuff like that, but
no, there wasn't and it was all word of mouth. It was and that was like that goes back to like that stumbled upon. Like when the internet was fresh and new, you wanted that website that your friends didn't know about.
Yeah.
Like, dude, check out this website.
Right. But I feel like even now, because this is just because of doing the Twitch stuff, right? And kind of being exposed to people on that side and other people who do Twitch. Everyone's just completely concerned about what they are doing and what they are into, and it's the net. They're not casting nets to find new shit,
right?
Like, and I tried to, like, even lately, I've tried to break myself away from that and being like, okay, like you can have a main game, right?
Sure.
But I'd much rather sit here and just talk. Like I did a stream this week where I decorated the Christmas tree.
I love it.
And drank beer.
Well, it's those. What do, like, when you talk about variety streamers, right? Like, what do all those variety streamers have in common? Because they all have something in common, right? They're all successful not playing the same video game over and over again.
It's personality.
It's that personality. It's what they approach it.
Yeah.
But I think it's something else. I think, like, if you start playing a particular game, and then you play that game, and then people watch you play that game, because they want to watch people playing that game, whatever that game is.
Right.
They watch you playing that game, and they stick around, and they become part of your community because they enjoyed watching you play that game.
Right.
So did they enjoy watching you play that game, or did they enjoy watching you play a game? And then how do you... And so I think it's that it's that survivor paradox. If you look it up online, it's a classic picture of like... the B-17 bombers would come landing into England, and they would look, and they would go, look at all these bombers that are landing. Here are all the bullet holes. This is where we need to armor. But all the bullet holes were like on the edges of the wing or the edges of the tail. There weren't any bullet holes where the engine is.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because those aren't the survivors. The survivors are the ones getting bullet holes in the engine and crashing. Right. So instead of arming where you see tons of bullet holes, that's fine.
Arm where you don't see them. Yeah.
Yeah, the plane can take a bullet hole here and land.
Yeah.
armor where you don't see bullet holes. That's that survivor thing. So when you see brand new streamers starting out and they start on that one particular game and they start playing that game and they become successful because of that game, they think they're successful they think they're successful because of that game.
Yeah.
I was like, no, you're successful because you finally figured it out.
Some people are successful because of the game, though.
Well,
Some
because they're
people
really good at the game?
Maybe, but like I'll see people step away from and do something else, and then all of a sudden their audience is cut in half.
Well, their audience is cut in half because their audience wants to watch them play a particular game.
Right. So there's give and take there. It's not.
But the audience, I think the audience that leaves wants to watch that particular game.
Sure, the audience that stays wants to watch that person. Sure, I will agree with you on that.
And I think that if you continue to build on the audience that wants to watch that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you can build something a lot more organic and a lot more long lasting.
Yeah.
Right? Because every game ends.
Every game ends, and every main person that streams at main is terrified of that.
And
I was just bored. Like that's what it came down to. I was just bored.
No, but I get that too.
But also I had a kid, and also that
that changes
my goals changed.
All
Everything
perspective
changed.
changes, man.
Would I love to still have a successful podcast or stream or whatever? Yeah, but who cares?
No, I mean that was
I just want my NLE, baby.
just your NLE. That's all you need.
That's all I need.
That Northern Light experience.
But so I went to DreamHack, right? I went to DreamHack 2 weeks ago at this point.
How many years in a row is that for you now? Like 4 or 5,
This will be the third one, actually. Third. Because there wasn't any for 3 years.
Yeah, that's right.
They had one scheduled last year and they canceled it.
That's right.
And it was fun. It was super tiny. It was a lot smaller than in years past.
Sure.
I was kind of upset with the indie dev setup. There weren't a lot of, and that's not necessarily their fault, although I think that maybe they just didn't reach out to people.
But that's been the highlight of DreamHacks in the past, I thought, was like that indie
For
hub.
me, yeah.
It was cool seeing those new games, meeting these devs.
Yeah, that's where I met Brian Clark, who was on this show,
right.
Did the Mortuary Assistant and did the Subject and all those games, and when you meet those people, you're like, holy shit, like this is amazing, and you get to talk to them, and then like you can just tell, like kind of like when an agent meets someone that's trying to be an actor or something, you're kind of like, that guy's got something. Like you can just sense it, right?
Right.
If you're looking for the right things. And it's the indie alley, which wasn't terrible, was just mostly limited to being super local, mostly college kids, right? That are working their way through Georgia Tech or something.
And then like we talked about earlier, they had Ludwig there.
Ludwig was there.
And I know that he was there raising money. He was doing like a 72-hour stream to raise money for charity.
Mm-hmm.
But
they got him in a glass box that was fully furnished.
But you also got to think DreamHack.
Oh yeah,
paid for him to be there.
100%.
Like he still got to pay.
He wasn't going to be there without getting paid.
Yeah.
Who's going to come to Atlanta and do that shit without getting paid?
In a glass box like that? No.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. But that was interesting to see. You've sent me Ludwig stuff before.
I just really, the guy takes an academic approach to all of this.
Sure.
Like we talk about like the survivor paradox and like figuring out what's successful and what's not successful.
Yeah.
Like he could write an instruction.
Sorry, you want
manual.
rye or you want to?
We can do some
IPA?
rye.
Yeah, I'll do a little rye. Go ahead. Keep talking.
He could write. I honest to God think he could teach a college course.
That's what you were telling me. You were like, that guy can teach anyone.
Yeah.
How to do this shit.
And
so do you think anyone? All right, go ahead. No, finish.
Well, no, I don't think anyone can do this.
Sure.
Can
anyone learn to do it?
Well, I think there's 2 skills involved, right? And it goes back to like people you've met in radio.
Sure.
Right? Like your Opie and Anthony's, those guys, right? But those guys weren't running the radio station at the same time they were broadcasting.
Correct.
Those guys weren't switching the tricoder, right? Behind every Howard Stern, there's what's her face, Gail. Or
Robin.
Robin, sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, Robin. And then even now there's like producers, right? I mean, you have behind Joe Rogan, there's that Jamie or a Red Band.
Sure.
So, I mean, you have to have that talent, the ability to talk, the ability to hold a conversation with no one, the ability to turn a bit, or, you know, to be creative enough to make something that people would want to experience, right?
The NLE.
The NLE.
Sure.
But then you also have to have that presentation skill.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have, like, the knowledge on how to set things up, the knowledge on how to make a thumbnail, or how to stream, or how to set up Streamlabs or stuff like that. How to set a streaming schedule, how to make a YouTube channel, how to post on Twitter. Like, that's a whole, not even an art form. That's a whole, like, academic. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, buddy.
Zinger.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's a whole thing.
Sure.
And that's, I mean, and so Ludd clearly has the talent, but he's also just really maximizing on his knowledge on how to do it.
Now, he's one of those guys that was Twitch, then got paid to go to YouTube, correct?
Right.
I'm right in that.
He is, I think he has the highest subs for 1 month on Twitch. He has that record.
Okay.
He did a whole month-long subathon and got way out of hand. He,
Do you think, I mean, obviously, I think over in the grand scheme, the answer is no in this, but do you think anybody can easily build what Ludwig's done, or what someone like him has done?
Oh, yeah. There are kids doing it all the time that we're just not aware of, right? I mean, the algorithm just shows us what we want to see, right?
Yeah.
But the tastemakers have always been that 16 to 20-year-old. And, like, Ludwig has his girlfriend, XTXQT, or Cutie Cinderella, yeah, QTC. And then they have all these other people they stream with. You have this whole stream house called Online TV, OTV. They have all these crews. I was thinking about it the other day, and it's this generation's version of, like, Real World Road Rules, or like those dramas that we would get enthralled with, where there was those characters, and we would tune in every day or every week. We wanted to know what the drama was.
Yeah.
We like I said, like that Real World Road Rule stuff that we kind of grew up with on MTV.
Yeah.
Like, that's this generation's characters, and some of it's kind of gross. Like, you're seeing people with, like, severe mental health or substance abuse, and it's playing out, like, on Twitch and YouTube, and it's kind of like,
it's hard to watch.
it's
Yeah.
kind of gross. Clean your act up, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, like, it's also that car wreck that we tune in to watch.
Yeah.
Like, we want to see the train wreck that is. And, like, we want to see how these kids pull off another production of this. Like, that was a big thing that I got kind of, like, watched into was they make these game show knockoffs. So they'd make, like, a Jeopardy or a Price is Right or a Wheel of Fortune or a just old game show knockoffs, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we were doing it. And we
Okay.
were just inviting, like, Krista and Poteet and Sean.
Just any of the gang. Yeah, sure.
And it was a shoestring production. We were doing it at the Civic Center. We had people filming, and, like, you're just watching to see if these guys can get to the end of it. Like, just it's a train wreck the whole way through. There's some hilarious bits sprinkled in, some good jokes, but for the most part, you're just trying to get to the end. And so there's stuff like that, and some of it's quality, some of it's not so much quality. But they're all characters, and I can see where these kids get invested watching these characters and want to. So I think that's where it's going to next. It's not television. If you were a television writer in the 90s, you were getting paid handsomely, and you were producing some of the finest content ever. Now,
Yeah.
and the democracy of it right? Where there used to be tastemakers in Hollywood that would have pilot season and they would decide which pilots got made or whatnot. Now it's more democratic.
Sure.
But at the same time, you have to produce videos quickly and cheaply so that you can make money doing it, like on YouTube, for example. So you don't get the good stories and the good plots like you got in the old TV. It's that reality, that quick hit, that game show or whatever.
Well, it seems like it needs to rely a lot on the drama type stuff. You know, like it has to rely on that more than anything else, because everything kind of follows. It's like what's making a ton of money on TV? It's Kardashians, it's housewives, it's stuff like that.
And I think when you see the streamers, some of the streamers and YouTube people that make content like this that are the most successful are the ones that have relationships going on. Mm-hmm. So like one or more of the people in the content house are dating or married or a couple. And it's not like we want to see the couple fail. It's like, this is just a relationship. Mm-hmm. And we just want to watch this relationship, right? It's a cute, adorable relationship. Look how they love each other, or, oh no, they're fighting, or no, they're not fighting, but you see that trend as well, where it's content creators, the relationship between, and it's not even, sometimes not even a romantic, it's just like a bro relationship. One that comes to mind is Mizkiff. That guy's weird as fuck. But like his podcast like works really well with the other guy on the other side. His name escapes me right now, but they feed off of each other really well. And it's that bro relationship, and so you tune in to watch these guys hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did. That's all I ever wanted. You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like that's all a radio show was.
So it's becoming this, like, it's becoming more democratic, and so it's really interesting because the people that are bubbling to the top of the algorithm, have perfected how to manipulate the algorithm, which is half the battle. But not only can they manipulate the algorithm, but they can produce content that will make you watch their video, and you go, I enjoyed watching that video. And so the next time the algorithm bubbles their content up, you're not going to go, I don't want to watch this. You're going to be more inclined to, I like their last one, I'll click on this one.
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast does the same thing. And, I mean, he caters to a certain crowd, and he doesn't make as much content as he used to because he doesn't have to. He's min-maxed himself. But early on, it was all, he was like, again, he was writing the book on how to manipulate this.
Yeah.
How to play this game.
It takes a lot of time.
It's weird.
Well, it takes a lot of time. I mean, how many of these guys do you see that have a family? It still takes
work and effort. It still takes work and effort.
It does. That's why I'm saying, how many of these guys do you see that have a family?
Well, they're young, though.
They are.
They're less than 30. Like, that's not what's important to them right now.
I know. It's nuts because, like,
Did you see Mr. Beast on was it what's
he did a whole sprint of shows.
He did a bunch of what's the one guy that is funny as hell? Shit, not Rogan. But Rogan was on it. He's the Italian guy.
Italian guy.
Kinda. Fucking hell. God damn it. I'm sorry. Anyway, he was great on it.
It's a solid recommendation.
It's not Andrew Santini, because that's the redhead.
Yeah.
What's the guy? He was, for a while there, especially during the pandemic, on the Instagram. He'd come up on Instagram and he'd go, hey, turn it over like this, and you turn it to the side. And he had his own little talk show on Instagram. I can't remember his name right now.
I know. I can't think of it, but
it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that there's some guys out there that know how to do this, and the first guy that came to mind was Harvey Weinstein, and it's horrible, because that's not the example I want.
Spielberg.
The Spielberg, yeah, they are the Spielberg of this new media, And I don't think we're getting rid of movies. I don't think you're ever going to get rid of the movie.
Yeah,
theater.
they're gonna all exist kind of together, but it's just they're gonna have to fight harder to get eyes.
So, what's your opinion on releasing an entire series like Netflix will do sometimes,
Or spacing it out.
or drip feeding it like HBO or like Disney will do?
Drip feed. Like I prefer drip feed just because. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because I've kind of come to not like binge watching. I'm not a big fan of binge watching, because I feel like you don't get to enjoy. You don't get to ponder, like what you got to just see. You get to see immediate relief for the cliffhanger. Like I feel like it cuts the cliffhanger short. I feel like it makes
You need to marinate, is what you're saying.
I like the marination. I like the conversation that comes from being like, dude, I wonder what the fuck that was about. Like some of the most enjoyable TV
But
for me.
sometimes I like just to watch another episode.
I do, but it depends. It depends on what it is. If it's an hour-long drama, right? If it's
Yeah.
a Breaking Bad, I almost feel like I am not appreciating the work that's put into it, if that makes sense. Like
Okay.
if it's a sitcom,
Well, if it's a 30-minute like Roseanne or Home Improvement,
I feel like that, while I know people work hard on that, I don't feel like it is a Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, a fucking Wire. I don't feel like it's any of that stuff.
drop me another episode right after the next, right? You can binge that stuff.
Yeah, because
Especially when it's like How I Met Your Mother,
well,
like 30-minute episodes, it just goes.
well, and there's a difference when it's a show that can stand, like an episode can stand by itself. Like I can immediately watch. You pick 'em, Roseanne, or you
Right.
pick 'em, How I Met Your Mother, and know exactly who's who, what's what the story is, because
don't even
every
have
story
to-
is contained within.
You don't even
that
have
30
to
minutes.
begin the episode at the beginning.
Yeah,
You
can
could
just
probably
pick it up.
drop in the second act and still be fine.
100%. It goes the same for streaming. It goes the same for streaming in the fact that if you're playing a multiplayer game,
Okay.
people stick around because there's rounds to it. Well, I'm in the middle of this round, but I see that this team is winning and this team is losing. Or I'm in this round and this is what they have. These are the objectives they have to finish. And then I know that there's going to be a new round after this. You have way less retention on a game that is story driven, because if someone missed the first 2 hours of a 10-hour game, they're less likely to stick around because they don't know what's going on.
Right, but those Let's Plays, I think, translate way better onto something like YouTube,
They do.
where
They do.
you go through the story with, and that's another thing that's odd to me that I've thought about. I can remember when The Fractured Butthole came out,
Mm-hmm.
and you had debated
South
on
Park.
whether or not you were going to stream that, because you're like, I don't want to ruin the story for other people. And it's like, so as a streamer, like, do you? I mean,
I know that. But so here's the thing with that kind of stuff is I know I've got people that want to play those games that can't play them immediately. Maybe they're broke. Maybe they don't have the time. So they'll be like, I'm going to be playing this game at some point, so I don't want any spoilers. I'll talk to you guys later.
right? And you don't want to do that. You don't want to.
No, the whole like I think the large point of streaming is I want to talk to people. It has nothing to do with playing a game. It has zero to do with playing a game. It has everything to do with show up and let's talk some shit, right?
Uh-huh.
So what I've been struggling with is I feel like for a while I had played a game that was easy to talk with chat.
Right.
Then I switched to a game that wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy to talk to chat because you had to like focus or you're just dead all the time, right?
Well,
and-
that's why that genre, the reaction video genre, that's what's like hugely popular against the most of the less chat streamers, the Ludwigs and all those guys. Moist Critical, Charlie, those guys make their bread and butter on React.
React is such a huge thing.
They'll
but
do-
Why
they'll
does it
do
feel
like-
so icky?
They'll do. I think it's icky.
It feels gross.
It feels like.
But I think that's my pride fucking with me.
Well, no, it feels like, look at the Mona Lisa. And you're like, so now my content, my art is going at the Mona Lisa. When like Leonardo fucking goddamn da Vinci he painted that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a weird lift of someone else's work to make your work.
right? Or like
It's like that Hive TV shit where it's just a bunch of videos and it's not credited half of it, you know?
And it gets even more derivative when you see them do like that's the big thing they'll do is they'll go on TikTok and they'll bookmark like 10 or 12 videos on TikTok.
XQC does this, yeah.
And then they'll play TikTok, we playing, and then their face is on the side, and there goes chat. And sometimes chat will like beg. They'll donate to send him links to play. And he won't play them. He's got his own playlist he's got on his TikTok that he's going to play. And he'll react to those, right? And people are watching him, and they want to watch him react to these TikTok videos they think are funny and great. They want to see him laugh and think it's funny and great. And it seems like ultra derivative. And like to me, it just seems like that is like you could be making better content. And like Ludwig and like Moist Critical, they do better. And there are other guys because they react to react videos that are reacting. Like it's like on top, on top, on top.
Yeah, this Bo Burnham shit, yeah.
But like the guys they're reacting to are guys that are putting together like these internet essays. Like based on stuff, and those guys are producing some of the like what I would think like quality content. There's this guy Summoning Salt, and he's famous for posting like the history of speedruns. So he'll pick like a speedrun like Metroid, and he'll go over the history of like where it was and where it is today and how he got there, and he'll give all of these different speedrunners these characters. And he'll say, like, this guy was doing this, and this guy was trying to do this. And he'll, like, clip in parts of them streaming and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can tell, like, he's put work and research and editing into producing these videos. He's not just playing something next to his face and reacting to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's people who do stuff like that. Punk Rock MBA.
Sure, yeah. But those people, their videos are then reacted to by these popular people like Ludwig or XQC or Cutie Cinderella or Maya or Mizkif or these guys. And they all see this stuff and they just think, like, so we're all watching this. I mean, on top of it, you see things like, you'll see Ludwig, he does streams where he plays video games, or you'll see him like he has The Yard, which is his podcast. And
You've sent me a few things about that.
Hassan, he has his podcast, and these guys, but most of these less chat guys, because they're just going daily and they're just grinding daily, you have to fall back on something like that. You have to fall back on and so I think that like at the end of the day, having like some of my favorite streams of yours, the less chatting streams, are been times when chat has dropped videos and you've watched videos like the opening the can of corn.
It's React stuff, though. That's the same thing.
It's a React video, but come on, that was good content for you. It was funny. We all laughed. You were laughing. You had a great time.
Were you there for Pot Prairie Cock?
No.
Did you ever see?
I did see it. You showed it to me.
Did you ever see my video of reacting to that?
No.
It's not. I think it's my most viewed video on YouTube.
But it's a React video, right?
It is, and I don't understand. Like, that's not it. I think that's what it is. I think it's what I said earlier. I think it's pride fucking with me because those guys don't give a shit that it's the fucking low leg sweep in fucking Mortal Kombat to win the game, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
They don't care that you're spamming C.
That's exactly what it is.
They just want to watch
me,
it.
I'm just kind of like, but people don't care. Like I can make my whatever explanation is sitting in my heart right now, threatening to fucking give me a coronary.
So that's that survivor paradox I was talking about. Don't focus on what is successful.
Yeah.
Focus on why it was successful. It was successful because you were genuinely having a hilarious time saying poppycock or whatever it was.
Potpourri cock.
Potpourri cock, yeah. Right? So you just have to find that lightning in a bottle, and you don't have to do it reacting to a video necessarily. But at the same time, but reacting to that stuff can be.
I just want people to know it's all a lie. Like it's all like everyone's like, just do the content you want to do, and your audience will find you. No, they won't.
No,
They won't.
But you have to. But you can.
They won't do it. They won't show up.
No, but
I've been doing it for years. They don't. They don't show up.
You can make a compromise. You can give a little bit of yourself to get that community to do those things you want to do with them. And you do have a community that's willing to go on a ride every once in a while.
Yeah, I do, and I do appreciate that.
But I've often thought, like, especially with how well like Sheets does like commentary and how he can just be over the top sometimes with it.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
I really think like a Twitch clip show where it was just watching Twitch clips. And the problem with that is you would need somebody screening clips to make sure they were half decent before they made it through.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could sort clips by like most viewed, most popular.
I'm sure you could
Pornhub filter it, I'm sure.
You could make some kind of algorithm where your users could submit links and then it could sort them.
But then you're just being Rob Dyrdek.
Well, I mean, before
then you're
there
just
was
being Tosh.
I was going to say, before there was Rod did it was Tosh, and Tosh did it way better because he was funny as fuck.
Before there was Tosh, there was Web Junk 20 with Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah.
On VH1.
Uh-huh.
And before that, there was Bob Saget on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Right.
So I mean, it's like everything's just, it's all been reacts. Like, think about that.
Well, it's
Rob Dyrdek has made
an
an entire second career after Rob and Big off of ridiculousness, and all it is react.
Yeah.
Why?
It's
Why?
not even react.
It's not.
I think at this point he's doing it like you do radio, where he's just preloading bumpers. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what Tosh became, and that's why we don't get it anymore. Because he was just done with that. He didn't want to write.
Well, he got paid godly amounts of money.
And that's the other thing. At some point in time, like if I got paid that kind of money and they're like, we need to come and do this again. Like Ari Shaffir, how he was like, I'm not doing my storyteller show anymore. Like, nah, I'm
done.
We're going on vacation. Like, we just paid you. And he's like, yeah, it was great.
I'm going on walkabout. See ya.
Okay, hold on. I got to run this by you. It's a sketch idea.
Please.
So
Please do.
This is a sketch idea. And no way do I think this is real.
Okay.
Or I think this should happen.
So it's going to happen. All right.
I think this should just be a funny sketch. This is parody.
Okay, so when let's do a little setup here.
Okay.
When you're talking about setting this thing up, are you talking about like this is just a YouTube video you're doing, like a one-off, or is this like something that would pop up in the middle of like an SNL?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't answer the question. Which one of those things?
Either.
Okay,
It's fine.
all right, I got you. Go ahead.
So basically, Alex Jones, he's in lots of debt because of all these Sandy Hook lawsuits, right?
Sure.
So to pay for it, he's going to sell this new supplement called the Red Pill.
Okay.
Right? And it's going to contain this like special blend of mushrooms and shit created by Joe Rogan and Ari Shaffir, right?
Sure.
And it's going to turn out that it's basically a lethal cocktail for anyone to take. Like, if you eat 3 of them, you're going to die.
Okay.
So immediately they're recalled from the shelves. And the right blames the fake news media for blowing this out of proportion, and there's nothing wrong with taking the red pill.
Mm.
So now dumpsters, landfills, warehouses are being raided. The far right is going after the red pill.
All right.
The left isn't going to keep, the government's not going to keep this from us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. I need my green coffee bean pills. Gotcha.
Right? And in like 9 weeks, 90% of all Republicans are dead.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's the one? That's
Yeah,
it? Okay. All right. Mm.
I mean, like, they're left baffled because people couldn't follow simple instructions.
That makes me think of like a fucking Kids in the Hall bit. That sounds like a Kids in the Hall skit right there.
Right?
100%. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I
like
thought
it.
so.
Who do we need to reach out to?
I
Who's a writer somewhere?
But I'm just saying, no one should make a pill called the red pill that kills people.
See, here's the other thing that no one's talking about is you just willed that into existence. You've brought that into the ether.
It's a
and now
sketch
it's gonna
idea.
be a
I
thing.
don't. It's just
Okay. All right. So when we see the red pill, the first person I'm calling, first person I'm sending the link to is you.
yeah.
Then I'm going to go clip this section out. It'll be like, stoner boy from Georgia figured out the red pill before the red pill.
Could you imagine?
Do we have a newspaper you can hold it up?
Could you imagine the
Note
right?
the time.
Could you imagine the right gaslighting themselves?
November 28th, 2022, 10:26 p.m.
Could you imagine them gaslighting themselves into taking a pill that could kill them?
I can imagine both sides gaslighting themselves to take a pill in an extreme circumstance.
You think the left could be tricked as well?
Yes.
Obviously, yes. We're just as dumb.
Yes, we all fall for the same hoodoo. We all want our NLE, all right?
Yeah.
And there's always someone
And
out
some
there that
people,
promises.
and some people's NLE don't have black people in it. I know.
Yeah. Well,
And some people's NLE don't have those trans people in it either.
there
But
is
my NLE,
has all of it.
all of it. At the
And-
same time.
And that's the thing. It's like the NLE is going to be promised by any and everyone. The NLE is exactly what gets votes, right? That's what they're going for. Like, I want you to believe in me. I'm your NLE Sherpa. I'm your fixer for the Northern Lights experience.
I'm telling you, it's a company. Like, we'll have yurts in Alaska. It won't even be fun. It won't even be fun, but we're going to call it NLE, the Northern Lights Experience. We're just going to get you to voice it over while we have, like, stock footage of, like, moose running in, like, 8 feet of snow.
That's another thing, man.
You ever
Wait.
seen a moose in real life?
No, I don't want to. They're
Those
terrifying.
things are fucking
No,
I've
they'll
only
fuck
seen
you
one
up.
moose. It was laying down on the ground.
And it was fucking
And it was
gigantic.
as tall as a stop sign, laying down on the ground
Yeah, they're
in a
big.
ditch. And I was like, you just stay right the fuck there, my dude.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna keep going. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I got a story now. That's the other thing, man. Like, just things like, and the internet has made all this possible, and I think it's wonderful for a lot of people. But voiceover stuff, you brought up voiceover stuff, dude. That is a booming business.
How have you not gotten into Fiverr doing voiceover work?
I tried. No one's interested. No one's interested. I don't have a unique. I feel like I have a decent voice. I don't feel like I have a unique enough voice.
You should. All right. There's that. He was in that movie about being addicted to porn. He was in the movie about dreaming.
Oh,
He's got 3 names. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Inception, and
I love him. I want to hug him.
I can't remember the porn one.
Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, Third Rock. Anyway,
I got you.
he's got that hit record thing that he does.
100 Days of Summer.
100 Days Summer is another one. He's got this website, and it's done like in honor of his late brother or something like that. But it's like constantly he's like asking for like voiceover artists, and it's all for free, and it's like an artist like contribution situation.
Sure.
Like someone writes a script and they need voiceovers for their animation or whatever.
It's called Hit Record.
I think so.
This right here, hitrecord.org.
Man, I got it right. Yeah.
So what does he want?
So like click on the community there.
See about real quick.
Or you can do that. So
Hey everyone, Joe Gordon-Levitt here. Welcome to Hit Record, and thanks for coming. My brother Dan and I started this little corner of the internet long ago. What began as a creative outlet for me and my videos and songs and stories and things soon evolved into a hub of collaboration for a community full of people who love making all kinds of art together. Oh, that's a lot of words.
Yeah. So click on the community button.
Okay.
So these are people that are just posting like poems or art, but so this is outstanding art from the community.
Sure.
But if you scroll back up, you can log in, go to Explore.
Okay.
And you can see different
So I can read that.
Yeah, and they're different writing prompts. Scroll down. But sometimes there'll be requests for voiceover artists. Hey, we're doing this animation and we need a voiceover artist for this project. So each one of these different things is a different project, and people can submit.
Voice acting contribution.
Where do you see? Yeah, there you go.
Record
Voice
yourself
actor.
voicing one or more of the Christmas creative's tiny stories. Voice artist. Okay.
See, and they just need people to submit recording, and they have a script and.
What does this say? Well, I don't know what this is.
I don't know what that is either.
Knock Knock Ginger. Written by Record, Replay, Relive.
Okay.
So you can scroll down and you can they'll have the different but basically you can log in and you can submit.
Okay. I could try that.
So you can build a portfolio here and then build off of that, but it gives you an opportunity to practice your art, so to speak.
Interesting. I didn't know that existed.
And it's Joe's it's an interesting collaboration point where again he has anyone can create a project that's in the community, and then you can submit to any project that you want. And it's heavily moderated and
Curated, moderated. Yeah.
They keep the riffraff out. So, but they also keep the riffraff out because it's not that big. It's not that wildly known. I only know about it because I followed Joseph Gordon-Levitt on Twitter. Speaking of, we're talking about Twitter, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning about how it's going downhill.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, and its death throes, it's never been better.
It's never been better to be a part of Twitter.
Twitter really has never been better than it has been in the last about 6 weeks for me.
Well, but it's all everybody bitching about Elon, man. I'm just tired of seeing it.
I blocked Elon, so I don't see that shit. I don't see I still follow some political stuff, so every once in a while I'll see the screen caps of people posting horrible shit, but I don't see people posting horrible shit. And I can engage in it if I want to or not. And
mine's pretty sanitized too.
I've learned to use the tools a lot better lately about blocking and muting and just because I've also learned that I went to take a
am I muted? Did you mute me?
No.
Okay.
I took a victory lap a couple of weeks back because the left did something great that the right said they weren't going to do or whatever. And I was posting on all these right wing stuff, and then the algorithm was you engaged with posts like this, so obviously you want to see more posts like this. What I've determined is the algorithm doesn't know if you had a positive or negative experience.
It just sees a click.
It just sees that you engaged.
You clicked and you typed some shit. Didn't matter what you typed.
So we're going to keep showing you that shit so that you can keep clicking and you can keep typing. No, I don't think Twitter's going to last. I think it's going to turn into a 4chan or something here pretty soon.
It's weird.
Well, it's getting to where there are weird parts of Twitter. And I think as long as the sane people do our part and use the tools provided to us, we can carve out our own sane part of Twitter. But then it's are you just turning a deaf eye to Nazi Germany, right? Are you the German baker who just keeps making croissants?
I mean, are you turning a deaf eye to that? I mean, maybe, but I mean, also like you said, things like 4chan exist.
I have no control over making this exist or non-exist, right?
No, none of us do. No one person does.
I do think it's interesting. Sometimes
it would only hurt if we moved in mass.
I do think it's interesting how sometimes people will screen cap things. Like Donald Trump's not on Twitter, but they'll screen cap Truth Social posts from Donald Trump and post it on Twitter.
He's back on Twitter, didn't he?
Yeah, but he can't post on Twitter. He's contractually obligated to post on Truth Social.
Oh.
Like whatever he posts.
Something about that is like depressing to me.
Whatever he posts has to be on Truth Social for like 6 or 9 hours before he can post it somewhere else.
Oh yeah, exclusivity, huh?
So but I mean, and it is what it is. But at the same time, it's like even before he was back, they would post screen caps of his posts on Truth Social. I was like, what's the difference, guys? Like, aren't you kind of you're getting around the ban for him?
Yeah, of course.
Granted, you're yelling it to a different audience than he's yelling it at too. But I mean,
But I think that's the thing, man. There is something because Twitter's experiencing it, Twitch is experiencing it. There is a backlog. There's like a bottlenecking of a lot of the same information. Like there are some days where I'll jump on Twitter and I'll scroll through and I'll be like, I'm tired of seeing XYZ.
right?
And it's all I'm seeing. And I know that's because of my choices on Twitter at some point. It is very frustrating because I'm just like, it makes me not want to fucking interact with the platform because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather just see a bunch of different shit than
The
a bunch of
algorithm
the
can
same
be
shit.
overly aggressive. Yeah, I feel like that
Instagram does it too.
on Pandora. Like I'll like type in Tom Petty station and I'll be listening to Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And a Counting Crows song will come on. And
Sure.
I go, I like Counting Crows, so I'll thumbs up that. Well, now my Tom Petty station's a Counting Crows station.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you forgot you totally jumped the shark, man.
I have that in Spotify when you look up when I do anything that's 9 Inch. I feel like Spotify for me anyway feels like 9 Inch Nails, Tool, Rage Against the Machine, and Deftones are the same band.
Yep.
Because they're all in the same playlist. If I do a Deftones playlist, those other 4 bands are there. If I do a 9 Inch Nails playlist, those other bands are there. And I'm just like, bro, can you just give me something else?
Yeah, give me some parody.
I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, I just kind of pick something like anything else.
Well, and I think that's the paradox of the algorithm. Is the algorithm is designed to give you everything that you want.
Sometimes it's spot on.
And it is. I mean, like the YouTube algorithm will say, you want to watch this guy make a leather wallet.
I do want to see this leather wallet.
And you'll watch the guy make the leather wallet, and you're like, I enjoyed every fucking minute of it.
And the fucking algorithm's just like, got another one, guys.
Told you.
We got another one.
You're going to love watching this Brazilian woman jump hurdles. And you're like, no, I'm not. And then you're like, you do? And you're like, I did.
I loved it. Look at her.
What else have you got, algorithm?
How short those shorts are. My God.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem legal.
Nope. But for Brazil.
Nothing's legal.
But
everything's legal.
That's the algorithm. That's the algorithm, right?
It's weird.
But if you're the guy that gets everything you want, eventually you're just going to be like, fuck, man, I just want something. I need a new drug, right?
Yeah,
that's
Huey
the whole
Lewis
thing.
In the news.
They made weed legal, right?
I want a new drug. One
and
that
they were
won't
like,
make me sick.
They're like mushrooms, man.
Yeah, it's just
now mushrooms are legal.
It's a
like
slow roll to decriminalization of everything. Like
right?
it's just come on, heroin's not that bad. What if we have different strains, man? What if you had
what if we have safe places to shoot up?
A needle tender.
Under
Sure.
You had a nurse that gave you
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gave a nurse that just gave you a shot of heroin.
Oh, I forgot. You haven't seen The Wire, right?
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're just playing off that. I got you. The Amsterdam thing.
Yeah.
When we went to Amsterdam, not Amsterdam. What's the place? Vancouver.
Vancouver has
Canada.
that one street.
Yes. We walked down it.
You walked down that street?
We walked down that street.
I've drove down that street and second night in Vancouver.
We
Canada.
walked from a bar to the highest tourist section, which is literally half a block away from all that shit. the highest concentrated tourist section of all the awesome places to shop.
Yeah.
That's right there.
I know.
So we were at this bar that was like one of those like Prohibition era like alchemist type places, right? Bartender was awesome. Talked to him. Again, fixer, right? Fixer. Hey, we're going to these places. He's like, that's not far, but you got to walk through such and such area. Whatever street he said.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend James Lynch from the Parting Shot podcast telling me, as long as you stay away from this street, you're fine.
I think I even told you the same thing.
We walked all the way down it.
Oh, my God.
And it was the weirdest thing. It was literally people shooting up on the street, laying down in the sidewalk and just drooling.
Yeah.
And there were just cops sitting with their arms crossed, leaned up against their cruisers, just to make sure that the people passing from one tourist area to the other don't get fucked up. There were moms out for a jog with their fucking running strollers through that area. And no one gave a fuck. It's just, they knew. Like, the people taking the drugs knew to be between this area and this area.
Oh, yeah. No, my first night in Vancouver, I knew that, like, weed wasn't legal in Canada at the time, but, like, in Vancouver specifically, it was a gray market. So I looked up different places to shop at the gray market, and they were all on this one particular street.
Right.
And started researching more and more, and I was like, this sounds sketch as fuck, but I'm not sure about it. Well, the next day, we're driving back from the appointment, and I'm looking at my sat nav, and I happen to type in the address for these places, and we drive by it, and it's like 2 blocks down from where the methadone clinic and a large Catholic church is.
Yeah.
So all the homeless are there getting their methadone and their heroin and whatnot, and they're getting their meal from this Catholic church, and they're all set up on the sidewalk. And I was like, nope, I'm not about to walk down there to get some weed late at night. No, I'm good. I don't need weed. I'm just going to drink some booze. This is fine.
Yeah.
Because that place was like, the only way I would have walked it would have been in the middle of the day, and I don't know if I would have made that walk with my wife.
No. Yeah, it was weird because, like, even the bartender was like, you'll be fine. Just walk through there. No one's going to bug you because no one wants to have their drug use interrupted.
Right.
So no one's going to fuck with you in the daytime. He's like, you'll be fine. It was broad daylight.
People, I know I would be fine.
People are smoking things out of tinfoil. People are shooting things into their arms.
Yeah.
And people are just it was very disturbing. It was incredibly disturbing.
I drove by it twice and was disturbed every time. You walked by it?
Yeah. We walked down the street. We walked at like 2 or 3 blocks of it. We didn't realize, like, we just thought, oh, it's just going to be a bunch of people that are just fucking,
No. Like, it's like they take the entire city of Vancouver and put them on these 3 blocks.
It was 100% the Amsterdam from The Wire.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
People just doing whatever the fuck.
Oh, yeah.
And as long as they weren't fucking with people and fucking with each other, the cops left them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It's so fucking weird. But at the same time, you're kind of like,
I was in Olympia, Washington, and they've got 2 city blocks that they have fenced off with like barbed wire across the top. And if you've got a tent and you want to set it up in the city limits of Olympia, you set it up on those blocks. You can't set a tent up anywhere else. You can't be homeless anywhere but within those 2 blocks. And apparently, like, crime is high, like things like rape and theft are high in those areas. And for, like, them, the homeless, it's, like, not good.
Yeah.
But for us, you know, in our high ivory castles, we don't have to deal with it because we just shoved them all into a couple of blocks.
I mean, look at what San Francisco's going through. Look at what Portland, like, I mean, we talk to our buddy all the time, and he said Portland is just terrible to be in. Certain parts, I'm sure.
That whole the whole Pacific
Northwest.
not says more San Francisco than the Pacific Northwest. You got to think, if you're homeless, like that's the spot to be.
Yeah.
It's not too hot, not too cold, right?
Yeah.
Or or if you want to be a migrant and move up towards Portland and whatnot during the summer, and then come back down south during the winter. It's not a hard trip to make. It's not an expensive bus ticket from Portland to Sacramento.
Yeah. It's true.
It's different.
You can cruise pretty easily if you just were halfway smart with money. Had a little bit to get a bus fare from here to there.
It's like you hear Joey Diaz talk about it. Like you wake up in the morning and you got to get 2 racks. So you do whatever you got to do to get 2 racks.
Mm.
Right? You get $200 and then like whatever happens after that, right? You got $200 and 2 grams of blow. Fuck, man. You high society.
It's weird.
It's a weird way to live. It's definitely like very selfish. It's very just you.
It's the fucked up weird life version, like the IRL version of I'm just gonna react to things and make money off of it.
Right?
Only I'm just gonna fucking shoot up.
It's just low effort.
In the streets of Vancouver.
Low effort as possible.
Maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe that's the thing with content creation.
Man, you say that about like the React content, like it's low effort, but then you see these people hustling.
You see people hustling, sure. There's levels to it, right? You see lazy people that react to stuff. You see people that hustle and react to stuff. But see the people that are big, the people that you're talking about, the Ludwigs, the fucking what's his name?
Moist
Hassan?
Critical, Charlie, yeah.
Hassan.
Yeah, Hassan.
Like all those guys, that's not all they do though. They're much bigger than their React content. Like there are some people that feel like React content that is all they do. Now, if you have a specialty in it, maybe you're a vocal coach that reacts to people singing. That's a different thing.
I was going to say, like, there's a YouTube Quarter Crew. They're a special effects house.
Yeah.
And they react to special effects, and they talk about special effects in videos and stuff.
Sure.
And that's an interesting. It still feels easy, low hanging fruit.
But it's a slice.
But they took the time to cut that fruit that fell off the tree into something pretty.
It's very niche, right? Like you're reacting to something very niche.
Well, and then I guess there are some times when it's like, I'd like to know this person's opinion about this. Right? I mean, that's what sports is all about. Yeah. I mean, there are people on ESPN that make their whole...
Sports talk radio across the entire nation.
It's all React, right? Something happens on a field and we're reacting.
It's all speculation.
Yeah, right.
Here's what I think's going to happen. Here's what they need to do. Here's what they got going on. Here's what they don't have going on. Here's what needs to happen next year. Here's what this coach needs to do. Here's what we need to look for in our next coach. That's all sports radio is.
Right, but then, so like, why don't we react to things like the Kardashians or TV that we see, or
maybe I'm just a dumbass and thinking
drama that we see amongst our friends, and we can monetize that, because that's the other thing is there are kids, there are 17, 18-year-old kids that have millions of followers. They figured out this game, and like they have their friends over, and their friends are on stream, and they're hanging out, and it's like, it's weird.
It is weird. It feels like you shouldn't be watching what's going on, like not in a weird, like perverted sexual way, but it's just kind of like, why am I watching these guys just open their mail and like talk in a really nice house, much nicer than I'll ever have?
Right. Well, it even gets weirder, though, when you see, like, shit just, like, go weird. Yeah. Like, one of them just starts misbehaving or acting out, and you're like, you're an adult. Like,
let's talk about, I mean, it's not limited to React stuff. Let's talk about, all right, so obviously I have a toddler, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about someone called Miss Rachel. You heard of Miss Rachel?
Very briefly, but yeah.
$10 million a year in front of a green screen talking to kids, basically doing what your teachers at preschool and kindergarten do.
Right, but that's not React content.
It's not. No, it's not. But I'm just saying, like,
that's high effort content. I mean, it's It's still effort content.
It is effort content. I will give you that. What I will say is she is in a wonderful position because she releases videos about once a month, and 45 to 60% of her video is recycled from shit before.
Right.
Because kids don't care. They just want to see that shit over and over again. And I'm not downplaying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it's amazing, like, how.
Oh, you want to know the genius one? The genius one is the dad that filmed his kid reacting to opening a Nerf gun or a toy.
Oh yeah, there's kids that are that.
And then now the kid's whole channel is him reacting to opening toys that the parents don't buy.
They're sent.
That they're sent to them.
They're sent to them by the distributor, by the manufacturer.
Brilliant, man! You don't have to buy your kids toys. That dad has it fucking turned on. That's a dad of the year move. Like it's you're thinking of the exploitive and all that nonsense. No, that is like that kid's gonna be 40 years old thinking about what his dad did for him to get all the coolest toys.
And in some cases, that kid will figure out how to be fucking pissed at their dad because of that. I didn't have a proper childhood.
No, you didn't have a childhood because you had every fucking toy under the sun. Most children had rocks and cans and sticks. Asshole.
But
it's
I don't know.
What's odd
like you
to
want to
me,
take care of your kid, right? You like so here's the conundrum.
Okay.
There's a way, like, right, you've got a young child.
Sure.
And you're like, in your head, you're like, I just figured out this idea that if me and my kid do this, and I make my kid the star of this YouTube channel, they will be set for life with money. But they will also be catapulted into the zeitgeist, right, of what's going on. Do you do it? Do you do it knowing that they are too young to know what the repercussions of that would be, of being super known as a YouTube personality? Because that kid that you're talking about opening up those toys was just excited to be opening toys at one point.
Sure, yeah.
May still be excited to open toys.
But there's got to be a day where it's like, okay, we got to do a video of you open a toy. And he's like,
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Like, but you gotta. And you're like, what? This isn't fun anymore.
Sure, I'm sure that day happens.
So.
But that's a conversation. I mean,
How young was this kid when that channel started?
He had to have been like 5 or 6, maybe 7.
You don't know. You can be convinced of anything at 5.
No, but what I'm saying is this. Like, I do think that as a child becoming an adult, and I'm not saying that children have to become adults at 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, but I do think there are life lessons that you learn along the way. And when you learn them, who cares? But, like, learning that sometimes you have to do shit you don't want to do. Like, I don't want to make a video of me opening a toy.
Yeah.
And, like, learning that, suck it up and open this toy. There is that, but, like, there's that thing in me, and maybe that's why, that's what would stop someone from being at that next level of being like, I don't want to do React content, right? Like, I don't want to be the React content guy. Well, no, hold on. There's drawing a line in the sand, but then there's like, I don't want to go to work today. It's a Monday. The alarm clock's going off.
Sure, but once your 5-year-old kid gets the wherewithal to be like, I don't want to open up a toy, do you continue making them open up the toy? Do you just say, all right, you're good.
Then if you back it off and, like, your 6 or 7-year-old kid doesn't want to go to karate today.
Okay.
He's always gone to karate. It's his goal to keep going to karate and get the next belt. And he wants to not go today. He doesn't want to do it today. He doesn't want to go to baseball practice.
You push them or you talk to them?
Do you push them? Do you talk to them? What do you do, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you say, look, this could build a life for you. This could do this and that for you. Do they understand that gravity at 6 or 7 years old?
I think you
is it fair to push that on them at 6 or 7?
I think you push obligations. If you commit to doing something, you have to follow through. I mean,
But up until that point, they've never committed to anything. They're just excited to open toys.
So, I mean, that's yeah.
That's a commitment you've made for them.
Sure.
It gets weird at a certain point. I'm just saying.
Well, no, and as a parent, like for me, it's like you're just throwing everything at a wall. Like you're just you're almost overwatering the plant. You know what I mean?
See the toys upstairs? They're everywhere.
Like you just not even that, just like interests. Just like and she's a little young maybe, but like are you into art? Do you want to draw? Are you into music? Do you want to sing? Are you into math? Are you into like just trying to figure out what that niche is?
Mm-hmm.
Because as an adult, you often think like, if I had figured this out when I was 8, how different would it be if I had started podcasting at 8 years old because that's what I wanted to do? How much better at podcasting would I be right now? How further down that dream would I have taken it if I started at 8 years old with the responsibility of an 8-year-old?
I think that there is a difference between being 8 and a difference between going back in time and being 8 with the brain you have now.
Oh, absolutely. And so, but like as a parent, you want to make sure, just like I said before, like I want to make sure that my daughter knows that if she wants to go to a friend's house or she wants to invite a friend to do something or come over to the house, that's an option. Like that's something you can do. So you want your kid to know that, like, do you want to play baseball? Do you want to play softball? Do you want to play volleyball? You want to play sports? Do you not want to play sports? You want to play a musical instrument?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be on TV? Like what? Like,
but and that's kind of where my question came in, was like that kid opening toys. He was pre that. He didn't know what he wanted. You don't know what you want at 4 or 5.
well,
You don't.
I do think there comes a point in time where like the kids opening toy, like I think that like the kids that are into baseball, let's take baseball for example.
Sure.
You're Alex Rodriguez.
Right.
You're played for the New York Yankees. You're the top of the top.
Right. Top of the pop.
That he started playing Little League.
Yeah.
There were days probably when Alex Rodriguez did not want to practice baseball.
Sure.
And his dad told him tough shit.
But did he jump into baseball because he wanted to, or did he jump into baseball because he was just told to go to baseball?
No. Maybe he was. I mean, you see that a lot. Like, as far as sports are concerned, where you see some kids are thrown into baseball, some kids are thrown into football, some kids are thrown into hockey. Like that kid that was thrown into hockey out of Minnesota or Canada. Would he have done soccer if it was sunnier and more available, or would he have done baseball? Or no, he did hockey because his friends around him did hockey. Everyone around him, outside influences had him doing hockey. Maybe it was his parents, maybe it wasn't, but there are influences that forced that particular sport on the kid.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And the kid wants to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only make a kid do something they don't want to do for so long. They're pretty good about, if they don't want to do something, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're pretty good about about getting their way as far as that's concerned most of the time.
It's important to know right here that the video stopped recording, but
Okay.
their audio is still recording. So
Okay.
if anyone's watching this on YouTube,
Yeah.
the audio will go on.
Awesome.
Sorry, I just saw that. I looked up. I was like, oh, I filled up a hard drive that's like 5 terabytes. Okay.
Oops.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm just saying that you want to just try to find that thing and nourish it as best you can. And what that is, maybe that's a bit of you, a bit of your influence, and you can feel guilty about that if you want, or just accept it. Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, that like it was like, there's certain things that aren't worth debating. It just, they are what they are, and they happen the way they happen. But yeah, as a parent, like, if you had the wherewithal to capitalize on your kid's interest early on, I think there's a possibility that you could be an amazing parent that's highly in tune to what your kid wants.
Right.
Your kid is super turned on and has decided what they want early on.
Sure.
Or I think it's a real possibility that you could see an opportunity, you're capitalizing on it, and then whatever the kid wants, kind of be damned.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like, it's not so like, if the kid loves it, it's great. Like, but what kid at 5 years old doesn't love opening toys? Like, so what I'm saying is, at some point, that can, and it may not always, that can become a pageant mom type of situation, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, you're gonna get the fuck out there and you're gonna open up some fucking toys.
Yeah.
Like, because
and they
the
could get
dad sees
toxic.
those ding 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 ding. They see that cash, those dollar signs are rolling through
and
their
that can be
eyes.
toxic, but at the end of the day, that toxicity doesn't last. I mean, that Honey Boo Boo girl, right? And all the other girls that we saw on, because Honey Boo Boo, if you remember how that came apart, she was like one of the characters on a larger show about the toddler pageants.
Oh yeah,
And then she had her own spin-off show.
pageant moms or whatever the fuck it was
Right.
called.
But like, where the fuck are those kids now? And it's at some point in time, if you have your kid opening presents at 5 years old and he's loving it, you're making videos out of it. And at 6 or 7 years old, he doesn't want to open toys anymore. But you tell him, get your fucking ass in there and open these fucking toys. Right? You tell him that. That's only going to work for a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And then the quality's not going to be there. And you're not going to keep the viewership because there's going to be some other 5-year-old kid whose dad's opening toys for him. You catch what I mean?
No, yeah, I absolutely do.
And so, like, if the kid's not in it, it's not going to keep going. But if the kid's in it, it's going to keep going. And at some point in time, I really believe the kid's going to be in it because there's this other weird responsibility you have as a parent because your kid wants to please you. It's like that thing, like if you asked your grandma, I would love an apple pie right now.
She's gonna bake you a fucking.
She's gonna bake you an apple pie. She'll be in the ICU cutting apples.
That kid up there
cutting apples.
If those words were to come out of her mouth, like all the grandparents would be like, "How do we make this fucking apple pie?"
You would have 8 different apple pies. Right.
You'd have an apple pie contest in no time.
Yeah. No one in your family's ever made an apple pie, but if that kid upstairs said they wanted an apple pie, you're getting them.
I know 1 or 2 grandparents that would just go up to fucking McDonald's and get the apple pie at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. They would win.
They would win. They would win.
They
that
would
thing's
win.
molten lava, but it's delicious.
That thing, they would win. They'd be like, look, don't touch it yet. Let me get this scoop of ice cream to go next.
Yeah.
Oh, let
Yeah.
me get you a McFlurry for you to dip that thing in. Cool to cool off your mouth.
Cool it down. No,
And
but
that's what's great. That's the apple pie and the McFlurry are the react video of YouTube. It's gonna win every time.
That's so like your grandparents just want that approval from her.
Yeah.
She wants that approval from you. Like more than anything.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bend over backwards for
and
that.
it's kind of obvious. Like now, it's kind of easy to do. Like you don't have to do much. Like you just show up and smile, and she'll smile back at you, right? It's easy. And
It doesn't take long for it to get complicated. It seems like
it stays easy for a while, actually. Just as long as you keep feeding her and keeping her ass clean, like it's pretty easy. But there's gonna come a time when like they're gonna want things that you can't give them, or they're gonna want something like, no, you cannot have an RPG. Like I can't even have one of those. Like you can't have a grenade. I can't do that.
sure.
Right? You're gonna have to say no, or you're gonna have to like break their hearts about it. But the other end of the round is like they're gonna do stuff, and they're gonna like look at this. They're gonna want to show off because they want your approval. They want that approval. So if you're that dad that says, "Hey, let's open up presents and make YouTube videos," and if you're that dad that's coaching your kid, and you're going, "Hey, look at these views. Look how this channel's growing. Me and you, buddy, we're doing a great job. You're so good on camera. You're doing a great job opening these boxes." Right? So now that kid's getting all of that approval that they want, right?
Yeah.
Same thing if they're just playing baseball, Little League Baseball. Hey, great job, kid. You had 2 hits out there, kiddo. It was great watching you play that baseball, right? They get that approval, right? I'm so proud of you for what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you give that to them, and that's enough fuel to make them keep doing whatever it is they're doing. You could convince them to kill people. I am so proud of you for shooting that person in the head. You did a great job.
Right.
right? And they're happy, right?
Yeah.
And they're not a psychopath at that point. They just want your approval. It's crazy to think like the give and take you have with your kids, like how much they want your approval, but also like how much they just will say no, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to change their mind on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They can just no.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, we're not eating things that are color green. I got you.
I guess we're done. I guess we're done here.
Yep. Moving on. Right? And then there's that Northern Lights experience.
There's the NLE.
Nothing
You
like
just got to teach them to chase that NLE. That's what it's all about. Banshee.
I'm not even chasing it. If you're out there and you've got it,
Share.
let me know what I'm looking at financially, because I think I could afford like an upper middle NLE. I'm not talking about like a Robin Leach NLE, but I'm talking
No.
about a decent NLE, you know?
Yeah.
I'll save up for it.
Yes. No one's looking to be on the elite list. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You just need to see. You just need like, it doesn't even have to be a polar bear skin rug, okay? Just give me a regular bear skin rug. Give me the stars. Give me the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
Good classy NLE. Just
That's
something
it.
classy.
You can follow this guy on Twitter at Banshee_radio.
While it's still there, enjoy it. I'm loving you guys.
Head on over to Hive at BansheeRadio. You can follow him there. I am Lopez, and you can follow me at Lopez Radio on Twitter, at Lopez Radio on Bumbl. Hive.
We're
Okay.
so going to get in trouble.
They don't listen. Come on, man. Let's be real.
They've never listened to what we have to say.
They don't. Mine stopped listening long ago once you realized who the fuck I am, all right? She's like, I know you.
We love them, though.
No, she's been listening from the other room, I bet.
Taking notes.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to hear something. She's like,
Oh.
So when you were yelling out about the Northern Lights experience being like the GFE, what are you saying, man?
Were
you
you
saying,
getting your
like-
dick sucked? Was that what's going on?
Is that what's happening? You can, on a polar bear rug by some guy missing a couple teeth, right? When he turned to one side, he got like, and on the other side, he's got like, chomp, 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 right? No, that's not what I'm saying. I think you were saying that. That's not what I'm saying. All right. What I'm saying is, thanks for hanging out, and
Find your Northern Light experience.
find your NLE and find your whatever the fuck you do, and maybe don't care as much about the React video type stuff.
Yeah, for God
because-
forbid, don't be React.
Yeah, just don't.
Be
Look,
better. Be better.
set your
than
pride to the side. If it works and you don't care, if you want to open gifts until you're 50 years old, if you want to open toys, that's fine too. No one's judging you.
that. But you can do better.
Just don't evangelize it to other people.
You can do better is all I'm saying.
We can all
I'm
do
not
better.
judging, but you can do better.
I know I could do better.
No, you're doing the best you can.
Isn't that a Godsmack song?
Now go away.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here. Thank you for the drinks.
Yeah.
Thank you for the fun times. Thank you for the laughs.
Good night, everybody.
Love you all. Have a great night. Goodbye.